Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine holding that winning lottery ticket in your hand. Feel its texture, see the numbers, hear the excitement in the voices around you. Now ask yourself, how would you feel if you already won? Would you walk differently, breathe differently, speak with more confidence? You see, wealth is not something you chase, it is something you assume. The world you see is only a reflection of your consciousness. If you believe you are struggling, you will find proof of it everywhere. But if you accept right now that you are wealthy, the world will conspire to prove you right. Do not wait for the numbers to match before you claim your abundance. A lottery winner does not try to be rich, they know they are rich. And so should you. How? By walking, talking, and thinking as if your fortune has already arrived. Stop measuring your wealth by what you see in your bank account. That is a shadow of old thoughts. Shift your inner dialogue. Say to yourself, I am financially free. Money flows effortlessly to me. I am living my dream life. Feel the weight of financial burdens lifting, the ease of limitless choices. Doubt will come, but doubt is only the past trying to hold on. Ignore it. You are not a beggar hoping for riches. You are the creator of wealth itself. The moment you embody the feeling of already having won, you activate unseen forces that will shape reality in your favor. So today, make a decision. Not to wait, not to hope, but to become. Assume the state of the winner, and watch as life bends to confirm what you have already accepted as true. You have won. Now live as if you know it. The reality you experience is nothing more than a mirror of your internal world. Every belief you hold, every assumption you accept, and every thought you entertain shapes the circumstances of your life. You may look at your current financial situation and believe that your wealth or lack thereof is determined by external factors, your job, the economy, or even luck. But this is an illusion. Wealth does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your mind. If you wish to see abundance reflected in your world, you must first cultivate the consciousness of abundance within yourself. Consider for a moment the nature of your daily thoughts. Do you wake up feeling wealthy, expecting financial opportunities to flow effortlessly into your life? Or do you rise with a sense of worry, wondering how you will make ends meet? This habitual state of mind determines the quality of your experiences. The person who constantly dwells on scarcity unknowingly perpetuates it, while the one who assumes wealth, even in the absence of physical proof, sets in motion the forces that will bring it to pass. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the cause of them. Everything you see, from the money in your pocket to the opportunities that come your way, is a direct reflection of your dominant mental state. If you wish to change the reflection, you must change the source. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, your world will mirror those conditions. But if you fill your mind with certainty, gratitude, and expectation of abundance, your reality will shift accordingly. There are those who believe that financial success comes only to the lucky or the privileged. Yet, if you study those who have created wealth, you will find a common thread. They possessed an unwavering belief in their own prosperity long before they ever saw evidence of it. They did not wait for proof before feeling wealthy. They assumed it as truth and allowed the world to confirm their assumption. This is the great secret. The outer world conforms to the inner world, not the other way around. You must begin to think of yourself as already wealthy. Feel it in your being. Embody the confidence, the ease, and the freedom that comes with financial abundance. If you had all the money you could ever need, how would you carry yourself? How would you speak? How would you make decisions? Begin acting as if you already possess the wealth you desire, and you will set in motion unseen forces that will bring it into reality. Doubt may arise, whispering that you are merely pretending, that you are deceiving yourself. But understand this. Every belief you hold today was once an assumption that you repeated until it became your truth. Why not consciously choose beliefs that serve you? If you persist in the assumption of wealth, it will harden into fact. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about recognizing that reality is fluid, shaped by consciousness, and that you have the power to mold it. Do not wait for external validation before accepting your wealth. Declare it now. Accept it now. Feel it now. The moment you do, your world will begin to shift. The opportunities will appear, the right connections will be made, and financial abundance will find its way to you. You are not meant to struggle. You are not meant to live in lack. You are meant to experience the fullness of life, and that begins with your own assumption of wealth. Change your inner world and your outer world will follow. It is law. The secret to manifesting anything in life, whether it be wealth, love, health, or success, lies not in effort or struggle, but in feeling. Feeling is the language of creation, the bridge between imagination and reality. What you consistently feel in your heart and mind shapes the world around you. If you desire wealth, you must first cultivate the feeling of being wealthy, regardless of your current circumstances. This may seem counterintuitive to those who have been conditioned to believe that external change must come first, but the truth is that the outer world is only a reflection of the inner state. Most people wait for evidence before allowing themselves to feel a certain way. They wait for money in their bank account before they feel financially secure. They wait for recognition before they feel successful. And they wait for love before they feel worthy. But this is a backwards approach. The law of manifestation operates in the opposite manner. You must first embody the feeling of your desire fulfilled, and only then will the external world shift to match it. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you want to listen to a specific station, you must first set the dial to the correct frequency. You do not wait for the station to play randomly. You deliberately align yourself with it. Similarly, in life, you must tune yourself to the frequency of wealth before wealth can appear in your reality. This tuning happens through feeling, by immersing yourself in the emotional state of already having what you seek. When you feel wealthy, you begin to think, act, and make decisions from a place of abundance. Your energy shifts, your confidence increases, and you naturally attract opportunities that align with this new state of being. Those who struggle financially often reinforce their struggles by constantly feeling anxious, desperate, or unworthy of wealth. Their emotions create a self-fulfilling cycle, keeping them trapped in lack. But the moment they break free from this cycle and assume the feeling of financial ease, the outer world begins to rearrange itself in accordance with their new belief. To manifest wealth, one must go beyond mere thoughts and affirmations. While repeating "I am rich" may be helpful, it will not produce results unless it is accompanied by genuine feeling. Words without emotion are empty, but words charged with belief and conviction have the power to reshape reality. The key is to immerse yourself so deeply in the feeling of abundance that it becomes your natural state, regardless of external conditions. Imagine for a moment that you already possess immense wealth. Close your eyes and feel the sense of freedom, security, and joy that comes with financial abundance. How does it feel to know that all your needs are met, that you can give generously, travel freely, and live without limitations? The more vividly you can experience this feeling, the more powerful your manifestation will be. This is not daydreaming, it is the conscious practice of aligning yourself with the reality you wish to create. Some may ask, how can I feel wealthy when my current reality shows otherwise? The answer is simple. The same way you feel fear before something bad happens, the same way you feel excitement before a joyous event. Your body and mind respond to what you focus on, whether it is real or imagined. Use this power intentionally. Train yourself to dwell in the emotions of abundance, and the physical evidence will follow. The greatest mistake people make in manifesting wealth is allowing their current circumstances to dictate their feelings. They check their bank balance, feel disappointed, and reinforce the cycle of lack. But the moment you shift your inner state and persist in the feeling of already being wealthy, the external world will have no choice but to conform. It is law. Feel it first, and it must be. Your current financial state is not permanent. It is not a fixed reality, but a reflection of past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that you have unconsciously accepted as true. The world you see around you is nothing more than a shadow, a projection of your inner state. Just as a shadow cannot exist without an object casting it, your financial situation cannot exist without the beliefs and emotions that sustain it. If you continue to focus on what appears to be lack, you will unknowingly reinforce and perpetuate it. But the moment you detach from this illusion and shift your consciousness, the external world must follow. Many people live in a cycle of financial struggle because they believe what their senses tell them. They look at their bank account, at their bills, at their current limitations, and they conclude that this is their reality. But what they fail to understand is that reality is fluid, ever-changing, and shaped by consciousness. The only thing keeping financial lack in place is the belief that it is real and unchangeable. The moment you stop identifying with lack, it begins to dissolve. Think of a person who constantly says, "I never have enough money," or "making money is hard." These statements are not just words, they are declarations of belief. And because belief shapes experience, their world must reflect these assumptions. They struggle not because life is difficult, but because they have unknowingly accepted struggle as their truth. If this same person were to shift their assumption, to believe and feel that financial abundance flows to them effortlessly, everything in their life would begin to rearrange itself to align with this new inner reality. Detaching from the illusion of lack does not mean ignoring your current situation or pretending it does not exist. Rather, it means recognizing that what you see today is merely the effect of past thinking. It is old news. If you want a different future, you must stop reacting to the present as if it is set in stone. The present is only a manifestation of where your mind has been. It is not where your mind must stay. Instead of fixating on financial struggle, place your attention on abundance. Begin to see yourself as wealthy, not in some distant future, but now. Feel the relief, the ease, the joy of financial freedom. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. Your only task is to assume the feeling of already having it. When you do, the world will begin to shift in ways you could not have predicted. This is the secret that separates those who thrive from those who struggle. Those who thrive refuse to be bound by appearances. They understand that reality is shaped from within, not from without. They act as if they already possess the wealth they desire, and in doing so, they call it into being. They do not wait for proof before they believe. They believe first, and the proof follows. Doubt may creep in and tell you that you are only imagining things, that your financial situation is real and cannot change. But understand this: everything you have ever manifested, whether good or bad, began as an assumption in your mind. If you have created lack unconsciously, you can just as easily create abundance consciously. The power has always been yours. Detach from the illusion of lack. Stop giving it attention, stop speaking of it, and stop identifying with it. Assume the state of wealth. Embody it and let the world reflect your new truth. Change the cause, your inner state, and the effect your financial reality must follow. It is law. Most people live their lives moving toward their desires, always reaching, hoping, and waiting for the day when their dreams will finally become reality. But this approach keeps the dream just out of reach, always something that will happen in the future rather than something that exists now. The key to manifestation is not in striving toward a goal, but in living as though it is already accomplished. You must assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled and dwell in that state as if it were your present reality. Consider a lottery winner. The moment they receive confirmation that they have won, their entire state of being changes. They no longer wish to be wealthy, they know they are. Their thoughts, actions, and emotions shift instantly because their assumption has changed. Even before they receive the money, before they cash in the ticket, they already feel different. The certainty of their wealth is what alters their reality, not the external event itself, but their inner knowing. This is how you must live. You must see yourself as the person who already possesses what you desire. You are not striving towards success. You are already successful. You are not working to become wealthy. You are already wealthy. When you assume this mindset, the world begins to conform to your new belief. Your thoughts, actions, and decisions naturally align with your assumption, and soon physical evidence follows. The greatest mistake people make in manifesting wealth is placing their desire in the future. They say, one day I'll be rich, or I'm working toward financial freedom. But by framing it in this way, they reinforce the idea that they do not yet have it. And what you affirm as true in your consciousness must be reflected in your world. When you think in terms of the future, your wealth remains in the future. But when you think and feel as though it is already yours, you bring it into the present. How do you embody this mindset? Start by asking yourself, if you were already wealthy, how would you feel? How would you carry yourself? How would you speak? What kind of decisions would you make? Would you stress over small expenses, or would you feel relaxed and confident in your financial security? Would you worry about lack, or would you trust that money flows to you effortlessly? By aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the version of you who is already financially free, you shift your reality from the inside out. This does not mean recklessly spending money you do not have, or pretending to be rich in a superficial way. It means internally embodying the certainty of abundance. It means adopting the peace, confidence, and mindset of someone who knows that they are supported, that opportunities are endless, and that wealth is their natural state. When you fully step into this feeling, you no longer need to force or chase outcomes. Instead, you become a magnet for prosperity. You may wonder, but how can I believe I am wealthy when my bank account says otherwise? The answer is simple. The outer world is always a reflection of past beliefs. If you continue to react to what you see now, you will only perpetuate it. But the moment you stop identifying with lack and instead embody the wealth you desire, your circumstances must shift to match your new assumption. Reality cannot help but conform to the consciousness that creates it. This is why the most powerful way to manifest wealth, or anything in life, is to live from the end, not toward it. Do not wait for conditions to change before you feel successful. Feel it now. Own it now. Walk through life as though you already have all that you desire, and the world will adjust to make it so. When you embody the feeling of already being wealthy, you are no longer wishing for abundance. You are living in it. And when you live in it, it must appear. Your words are not just expressions of thought. They are creative forces shaping the reality you experience. Every word you speak, every thought you entertain sets a course for your life. When you speak of lack, you affirm lack. When you speak of abundance, you affirm abundance. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to conviction. It reflects what you repeatedly declare as true. Many people unknowingly keep themselves trapped in financial struggle simply by the words they use. They say, I can't afford that, or money doesn't come easily to me, or I hope I win the lottery someday. These statements seem harmless, but they reveal an underlying belief in limitation. Every time you say, I can't afford this, you are reinforcing the idea that wealth is out of reach, that your financial situation is beyond your control, and so reality obliges, ensuring that you continue to experience what you affirm. Contrast this with someone who speaks only in abundance. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, they say, money flows to me effortlessly and I choose how to use it. Instead of saying, I hope I win, they declare, wealth is inevitable for me. They do not beg for prosperity or wish for success. They assume it is fact. They do not speak of struggle, they speak of certainty. And because their words affirm their inner conviction, life arranges itself to match their belief. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It takes your words as instruction and works tirelessly to manifest whatever you repeatedly declare. This is why it is critical to eliminate all speech that reinforces scarcity. You must become deeply aware of the words you use, catching yourself whenever you slip into old patterns of doubt, and replacing those words with declarations of abundance. It is not enough to simply avoid negative speech. You must actively replace it with affirmations of wealth and prosperity. Say, I am financially free, even if your bank account does not yet reflect it. Say, money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways, even if you do not yet see the evidence. Say, opportunities flow effortlessly into my life, even if none seem visible. Speak as though your wealth is already here, and soon the world will conform to your assumption. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law of consciousness. Everything in your external world begins within you. When you repeatedly affirm a truth, you condition your mind to accept it. And once it is accepted as fact, it must manifest in your experience. The world cannot help but give you what you persistently declare is true. Some will say, "But isn't it dishonest to say I am wealthy when I am not?" The truth is, you are always telling a story about yourself, whether intentionally or not. Every time you say I am broke, you are speaking something into existence. If you must tell a story, why not tell one that serves you? Why not declare what you want rather than what you do not want? The only difference between those who thrive and those who struggle is the story they choose to affirm. Begin now. Become conscious of your words. Remove all language that implies lack, struggle, or uncertainty. Speak only in abundance and certainty and prosperity. Say, "Wealth is mine," and let that be the only truth you accept. When doubt arises, refuse to give it voice. When worry creeps in, replace it with declarations of security. The more you speak in abundance, the more natural it becomes. And as it becomes natural, it becomes reality. Your words hold immense power. They are the seeds of your future. Plant only the seeds of prosperity and watch as abundance becomes inevitable. Once you have assumed the state of wealth, the most powerful thing you can do is let go. Do not concern yourself with the how, the when, or the path through which it will come. The moment you attempt to force or control the process, you are telling the universe that you do not truly believe in your wealth. You are affirming doubt rather than certainty. But when you trust, when you release the need to micromanage, the universe rearranges itself to fulfill your assumption in ways far greater than you could have planned. This is where most people struggle. They assume the feeling of wealth, they visualize, they affirm, but then they begin to question, what if it doesn't happen? What if I'm doing this wrong? Maybe I should try something else. These thoughts are born from a place of fear and uncertainty, and the moment they take root, the manifestation is delayed. Doubt is a signal that you are still attached to the external world rather than trusting in the unseen reality already set in motion. The truth is, your work is not to figure out how it will happen. Your work is to persist in the feeling that it is already done. The how is not your concern. It is the work of the unseen forces that shape reality. When you assume the state of wealth and trust completely, the right ideas, people, and circumstances naturally flow into your life. You do not need to chase, force, or struggle. Everything aligns to reflect your inner conviction. Look at nature. The river does not force its way to the ocean, it flows. The tree does not struggle to grow. It unfolds effortlessly. The same intelligence that governs the universe is at work in your life. Trust that the same effortless unfolding applies to your wealth. The moment you assume the state of prosperity, forces beyond your awareness begin orchestrating events to make it real. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption and let go of the need to interfere. Letting go does not mean doing nothing. It means acting from a place of inner knowing rather than fear. A person who knows they are wealthy does not check their bank account every hour, worrying about whether money will come. They move through life with confidence, making decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. When an opportunity arises, they act on it, not out of desperation, but out of alignment with the wealth they know is theirs. This is the essence of trust. It is the ability to remain unshaken in the face of what appears to be delay or contradiction. If you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You water it, give it sunlight, and trust that beneath the surface, growth is happening. The same principle applies to your desires. Once you have planted the seed of wealth in your consciousness, do not disrupt it with worry or impatience. Trust that it is unfolding in perfect timing. Some may ask, but what if nothing happens? That question itself is the obstacle. It reveals a lack of belief. When you truly trust, you do not ask if it will happen, you know it is already set in motion. The moment you assume it is fact, reality must conform. The universe cannot contradict the consciousness that created it. Let go of the need to control. Release the habit of questioning. Step into the state of knowing. When you trust completely, you move beyond doubt, beyond resistance, beyond struggle. Wealth does not come to those who chase it. It flows effortlessly to those who know it is already theirs. Everything begins within you. The wealth you seek is not found in the external world. It is born in your consciousness. When you assume the feeling of abundance, speak only in prosperity, and release the illusion of lack, the world must rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. There is no need to chase, force, or struggle. You are not hoping for wealth, you are embodying it now. Trust in the unseen. Let go of doubt. Live from the end and allow the universe to do its work. Wealth flows to those who know it is already theirs. When you fully embrace this truth, prosperity becomes inevitable. Thank you for listening. Now, go forward and claim what has always been yours. Have you ever looked back at a year and felt like it was wasted? Maybe things didn't go as planned, or you faced unexpected struggles, and it felt like you were stuck in a cycle that never moved forward. But what if I told you that, even after all the challenges, your year isn't wasted? That the difficulties you faced are not setbacks, but a prelude to something greater? This video is for those who have gone through trials, endured the unknown, and wonder if there's hope for recovery. Today we are going to talk about 7 signs that God is about to restore your wasted year. God doesn't work in the way we expect or within the timelines we set for ourselves. He is working behind the scenes even when we can't see it. Restoration isn't just about turning back time, it's about redeeming what's been lost and positioning you for something better than you imagined. This is not about waiting for things to happen, it's about recognizing the signs and stepping into the truth of what is already on its way. Let's dive into these 7 signs and unlock the powerful transformation God is about to bring into your life. You're standing in the midst of a storm. Everything around you feels like chaos. Your dreams, your hopes, even your plans seem shattered. But deep within you, there's a quiet stirring. It's a knowing, not a belief, but a deep certainty that the storm will pass, and what follows will be greater than what came before. For the longest time, you may have felt as though the year slipped away, like you missed out on opportunities and your life is stuck in neutral. But here's the truth: nothing is ever truly wasted in the divine plan. What may appear to be wasted time is often preparation for something far greater than you can imagine. You see, God works in ways that transcend our understanding of time. While we're caught up in the ticking of the clock, He is orchestrating a much grander masterpiece. And right now there are signs all around you that God is about to restore what was once lost. Maybe you've been struggling in your career, your relationships, or your spiritual walk. Maybe the past year feels like it was marked by frustration and unmet expectations. But what if this is the moment when everything begins to shift? What if the things you thought were wasted were actually the building blocks of your future? I want you to stay with me for a moment longer, because what I'm about to share could change your perspective forever. You're about to see that the struggles you faced, the setbacks and the hardships were not in vain. They were part of a divine preparation, and what's coming next is something far greater than you could have ever imagined. The signs are everywhere, you just need to be able to see them. Are you ready to discover these signs? Are you ready to understand the hidden messages that have been placed before you? Let's look at the 7 signs that God is about to restore what you thought was a wasted year. You've likely experienced the feeling that something is shifting within you, a desire for change that you can't quite explain but can't ignore either. It's as if the life you've been living is no longer enough, as though your soul is calling for something more, something better. This yearning can be unsettling, even confusing at times, because it feels like a disruption in your current reality. But what if this growing desire for change isn't random? What if it's not just a fleeting thought, but a divine sign that God is preparing you for something greater? Often when people find themselves feeling stuck, they question why their circumstances seem so difficult. But a deep internal desire for change is not just about dissatisfaction, it's a sign of transformation in the making. This desire may have been building for weeks, months, or even years. You might have been living in the same routine, experiencing the same struggles, yet something inside of you began to stir. It started as a thought, maybe a whisper, something small like there has to be more to life than this. And then it began to grow louder. Soon you can't ignore it anymore. It's a craving for a better life, for something deeper and more meaningful. What you're experiencing is a divine push, a subtle yet powerful call to move beyond your current situation. This desire for change is the first sign that God is preparing you for restoration. He is placing within you the urge to move forward, to reach beyond the limits that you've placed on yourself, and to break free from the patterns that have kept you stagnant. The desire isn't there to frustrate you, it's there to inspire you to take the next step into the life you've been created for. As you begin to notice this inner urge, you may feel fear or uncertainty. After all, change can be intimidating. The familiar comfort of your current circumstances, even if they're not ideal, can feel safe compared to the unknown. But this desire for change is an invitation to trust that God is leading you to something far better. It's as if He's softly nudging you forward, encouraging you to step out of your comfort zone, to leave behind the limitations of your past, and to embrace a future full of possibility. Perhaps up until now you've been held back by past disappointments, failures, or heartbreaks. These past events may have left you feeling stuck, as if the years have slipped away without much to show for them. But when you begin to feel that increasing desire for change, it's a sign that you're no longer bound by the past. God is preparing you to let go of old wounds, old habits, and even old relationships that no longer serve you. The desires within your heart are God's way of calling you to move forward, to step into the next chapter of your life with faith and anticipation. This desire for change can also come in the form of dissatisfaction with your current circumstances. Maybe you're tired of feeling unfulfilled in your work, or perhaps you're longing for a deeper sense of peace in your relationships. Maybe you're feeling disconnected from your spiritual path, or like your personal growth has plateaued. All of these feelings are part of the divine process of preparation. They're not signs that something is wrong with you, but that God is stirring within you a desire to grow, to evolve, and to reach higher. These feelings are signs that you are ready for a shift. Your soul is awakening to the next phase of your journey. God is never inactive in our lives, even when we don't see it. The growing desire for change that you feel is His way of guiding you. He knows exactly what you need, even when you don't. This desire isn't random, it's intentional. It's God calling you to step into a life that's more aligned with your purpose, a life that reflects your true potential. You may not have all the answers now, but trust that this deep desire for change is the beginning of something new. It's a signal that God is about to restore what you thought was wasted time, and He's preparing you to walk into a season of fulfillment and abundance. As you honor this inner calling and allow it to guide you, be assured that the change you seek is already on its way. It might not come in the way you expect, and it might require you to step into the unknown, but remember that God is leading you. He is restoring what has been lost, and through this desire for change, He is preparing you to embrace the abundant life He has already planned for you. The journey ahead might seem uncertain, but with faith in the process and trust in the divine timing, you will soon see that this desire for change was the spark that ignites your restoration. There comes a point in every person's life when everything seems to shift, often without warning, as if something deep within you has been unlocked. One day you find that your thinking has changed, and your perspective on life has suddenly expanded. It's a sudden shift in your mindset, a transformation that can feel both subtle and dramatic. What once felt impossible now seems achievable, and where you once saw obstacles, you begin to notice opportunities. You find yourself thinking differently, feeling differently, and seeing your circumstances in a whole new light. This is not mere coincidence, it's a sign that God is working in your life, preparing you for the restoration you've been waiting for. When this shift happens, you may not even realize it at first. It's like the fog slowly lifting after a long dark period. You wake up one morning with a sense of clarity, as if you've broken free from the chains of your old way of thinking. Suddenly, the weight you've been carrying, fear, doubt, or a sense of defeat, begins to feel lighter. You find yourself looking forward to the future rather than dreading it. The way you view your past also changes, no longer seeing it as a collection of failures, but rather as a series of lessons that have brought you to where you are now. This change in mindset is a divine reset. It's as if God has quietly but powerfully shifted your perception, allowing you to see things from a higher perspective. You begin to realize that your life is not defined by the mistakes you've made or the things you've lost, but by the possibilities that lie ahead. This shift changes everything: how you approach your goals, your relationships, and even your day-to-day thoughts. What was once a source of frustration or hopelessness now feels like a stepping stone toward your future success. You might start noticing that your thoughts are more aligned with the life you desire to create. Where once you believed that your circumstances were limiting you, now you see the potential for growth and change. The job you've been dreaming about, the relationships you've longed for, or the financial freedom you thought was unattainable now seem like real possibilities. The shift in your mindset allows you to see the abundance around you, even in the midst of challenges. You begin to understand that your thoughts are powerful, and by aligning them with your desires, you can manifest the life you've always wanted. This is also when you begin to feel more empowered. Where fear and doubt once reigned, now confidence and faith take their place. You may even find yourself thinking, "I can do this. I am capable. I am worthy of all that is good in this world." It's as if you've stepped into a new version of yourself, one that has shed the old limiting beliefs and embraced the truth of your potential. This is not just a mental shift, it's a spiritual awakening. You're moving from a mindset of lack and limitation to one of abundance and possibility. God is always working behind the scenes, and often He works by transforming our minds. The sudden shift you're experiencing is a sign that He's clearing the way for your restoration. He is helping you to see beyond the circumstances of today and into the future He has planned for you. As your mindset shifts, you begin to align more closely with His will for your life. You understand that the challenges you faced weren't meant to break you, but to refine you. Your trials have prepared you for this moment of clarity, this moment of awakening. You'll also notice that the things that once triggered you or caused you to react negatively no longer have the same power over you. Whether it's criticism, failure, or loss, these things no longer hold you back. You're able to view them with a sense of detachment, as temporary experiences on your journey, rather than permanent markers of your worth. With this newfound mindset, you become more resilient, more capable of handling the ups and downs of life without losing your peace or sense of direction. This shift in thinking is not just a fleeting feeling. It is the beginning of a new way of life. It marks the moment when your thoughts and beliefs begin to align with the reality that God is restoring in your life. What once felt out of reach now feels possible. What you once doubted now feels certain. This is a sign that the time of restoration is upon you, and you are stepping into a new season where all things are being made new. As you navigate through life, there comes a time when struggles seem to surround you from every direction. Life may not be going according to plan, and the weight of adversity can feel overwhelming. But amid these struggles, there is a profound shift that can occur. You begin to see opportunities where once you only saw obstacles. This shift is not something you can always control, yet it is often the first sign that restoration is about to unfold in your life. What once seemed like insurmountable challenges now start to look like stepping stones to a new, brighter future. In the past, when faced with adversity, you may have focused solely on the difficulty of the situation. The fear of failure, the uncertainty of the outcome, and the emotional toll of dealing with challenges often overshadowed the potential for growth that lay beneath. But now, as you face new struggles, you start to see things differently. The roadblocks that once seemed like dead ends now reveal paths you hadn't noticed before. You begin to realize that your struggles are not just burdens to bear, they are opportunities to grow, to learn, and to push beyond your current limitations. This shift is profound. Instead of becoming paralyzed by fear or discouragement, you start to approach challenges with curiosity and determination. You begin to see every difficulty as a chance to improve, a lesson waiting to be discovered. Whether it's a financial setback, a job loss, a personal conflict, or even a health issue, you now have the perspective to see the potential hidden within the struggle. This is the beginning of God's restoration in your life. He is opening your eyes to the possibilities that are often hidden behind the veil of hardship. With this new perspective, you may begin to notice how your struggles are aligning with your purpose. The experiences that once seemed like random misfortunes now seem to be part of a greater plan. Perhaps a job loss leads to a new opportunity that better suits your skills and passions. A failed relationship might teach you valuable lessons about self-love and boundaries, preparing you for a healthier partnership in the future. Even health challenges may push you to take better care of yourself and discover new ways to improve your overall well-being. What once felt like a series of unfortunate events now begins to feel like a series of divine interventions guiding you to a higher purpose. As you begin to see opportunities in the midst of struggles, you also start to attract new possibilities into your life. Your mindset becomes magnetic, drawing in the right people, the right circumstances, and the right experiences that support your growth. It's as if the universe is conspiring to align with your new way of thinking, and God is opening doors that were once closed. You begin to see that the struggles of your past were not wasted years, but were, in fact, preparing you for the abundant life that lies ahead. As you journey through life, there comes a time when your faith is tested in ways you never anticipated. These moments of testing often come when you least expect them, when everything seems to be falling apart, and you are left with nothing but uncertainty. But it is in these moments of trial and struggle that your faith begins to grow in ways it never could have before. It is as if you are being refined through the fire, being shaped into the person you were always meant to be, but in ways that demand your full trust and belief in something greater than yourself. When faith is tested, it often feels as if the ground beneath you is shaking. Things you once held onto firmly, your plans, your comfort, your understanding, begin to slip away. You are asked to trust in the unseen, to have faith in something beyond the immediate circumstances. It is a place of surrender, where you are no longer in control of the outcome, and the future feels uncertain. But this is exactly where growth happens. It is in these moments of vulnerability that your faith is stretched, tested, and ultimately strengthened. This testing can come in many forms. Perhaps it's a sudden loss, whether it be a loved one, a job, or a relationship that leaves you questioning everything. Or maybe it's a financial struggle that seems endless, a period where you wonder how you'll ever make it through. There are times when it feels as if the odds are stacked against you, and your faith is all that you have left. But even in these moments of doubt and fear, there is a deeper work being done within you. When your faith is tested, it forces you to confront your deepest beliefs and your true reliance on God. You may begin to ask yourself hard questions. Do I truly trust that everything will work out? Am I willing to let go of control and allow God to lead me through this storm? It's in these questions that you begin to find your answers. As you seek deeper understanding, you begin to see that faith is not just about believing when things are going well. True faith is about trusting when you have nothing but your belief in the unseen and your trust in a higher power that knows better than you what lies ahead. In these testing moments, you begin to realize that your faith is not just a passive belief, but an active force. It is something that moves you, guides you, and strengthens you even in the most difficult of times. This is when your faith becomes real. It moves from a theoretical understanding to an experiential reality. As your faith is tested, you may feel a sense of discomfort, but you also feel a shift within you. You begin to understand that faith isn't just about asking for what you want or waiting for the storm to pass. It's about trusting that there is purpose in the process, and that every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth, for strengthening your belief, and for deepening your connection with God. As your faith is tested, you may also begin to see how God is using these moments to prepare you for the restoration that's about to come. You might not see it in the moment, but the testing of your faith is often the precursor to the breakthrough that lies ahead. Just as gold is refined in fire, your faith is refined through trials. It's in the moments of doubt and struggle that your character is built, your resilience is developed, and your trust in God deepens. You learn that every setback is not a failure but a lesson, and each lesson is preparing you for the blessings that are about to come. In times of testing, you might also discover the power of patience. The process of faith testing often requires you to wait, to endure, and to persevere, even when you don't see immediate results. But as you endure, you learn the true nature of trust, that even when you don't see how things will work out, you trust that God has a plan for you, and that plan is always for your good. You begin to realize that the waiting period is not wasted time, but time spent strengthening your faith, building your endurance, and preparing for the restoration that is about to unfold. Through it all, your faith becomes stronger. You move from simply believing to truly knowing that God is with you, even in the darkest moments. You start to see that every trial is not an obstacle, but an opportunity for your faith to grow. And as your faith grows, you become more aligned with the truth that God is always working on your behalf, even when you cannot see it. The testing of your faith is not something to fear, but something to embrace, for it is in these moments that you are being prepared for the amazing restoration that is coming your way. In the midst of external chaos, there is a peace that transcends all understanding. It is a quiet calm that arises from within, a stillness that no external circumstance can disrupt. Life has a way of throwing storms your way, testing your limits, and challenging your sense of stability. The world around you may be filled with noise, confusion, and unrest. But there is a deep inner peace that you begin to experience when you allow your heart to trust in something greater than the external conditions. This peace is not fleeting or circumstantial. It is the peace that surpasses all understanding, anchored in the faith that everything is unfolding as it should, even when the outer world appears chaotic. As you face struggles, uncertainties, and moments of trial, you might find that despite the external noise, there is a stillness within you that cannot be shaken. It is as if the more chaos surrounds you, the more you are drawn into the quietness of your soul. This deep inner peace is a sign that something powerful is at work in your life. It is a sign that you are being prepared for the restoration that is about to come. While the world may be spinning with uncertainty, you stand firm, rooted in a place of calm and trust. This inner peace does not mean the absence of challenges or struggles. On the contrary, it often emerges in the face of great adversity. It is in those moments when the world seems to be unraveling that you discover a sense of peace that has nothing to do with your circumstances. It is as though, in the midst of it all, you realize that you are not bound by what happens around you. You are grounded in a deeper truth, one that assures you that no matter how loud the storm becomes, you are anchored in something unshakable. What's remarkable about this peace is that it cannot be created by external circumstances. You can't force it or manufacture it through your own efforts. It is a gift that comes when you allow yourself to surrender to the present moment, trusting that the universe, or God, is in control. You might find that you no longer feel the need to control every situation or worry about every detail of your life. Instead, you trust that things are unfolding as they should, even when you cannot see the full picture. You realize that everything, even the chaotic moments, is working together for your highest good. This inner peace also teaches you the value of letting go. When the world is in turmoil, it is easy to become swept up in the anxiety and fear that surrounds you. But as you begin to experience this deep peace, you understand that there is no benefit in clinging to control or trying to change things that are beyond your influence. You learn to release the need for certainty and instead lean into the trust that everything will be okay. This act of surrender is liberating, and it is in that freedom that peace is found. You also begin to realize that this peace is a reflection of your trust in a divine plan. The more you trust in the unseen, the more you experience peace in the midst of adversity. When you let go of your need for control and trust that there is a higher purpose to everything, you start to see that your trials are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. You start to recognize that each challenge is a stepping stone toward the restoration that is unfolding in your life. Even when things look uncertain, you trust that there is something greater at work, and that knowledge allows you to remain calm amidst the storm. As you continue to embrace this inner peace, you become more resilient to the chaos around you. The storms of life may still come, but they no longer have the power to rattle you in the way they once did. Your peace becomes a shield, protecting you from the anxiety and stress that the world tries to impose on you. You learn to navigate life with a sense of calm, knowing that no matter what happens, you are held, supported, and guided by a higher power. This inner peace also radiates outwards, influencing the people and situations around you. When you are calm and centered, you become a source of peace for others. Your presence becomes a reminder that no matter how loud the world gets, there is always a place of stillness within. In this peace, you are restored, and you are able to restore others. The more you cultivate this peace within yourself, the more you create space for it to expand into every area of your life. In the face of outer chaos, your deep inner peace is a clear sign that God is at work in your life, preparing you for something greater. It is a sign that the restoration of your wasted years is underway, and that peace is one of the first fruits of that divine restoration. As you hold on to this peace, you are not only transforming your own life, but you are becoming a beacon of hope and calm for the world around you. As you go through life, there comes a time when new people begin to enter your life, people who seem to show up just when you need them most. These new connections, whether they are friendships, romantic relationships, or professional acquaintances, carry with them the potential for growth, healing, and transformation. At first, these encounters might feel coincidental, but as you reflect on them, you begin to realize that they are part of a divine plan, a carefully orchestrated unfolding meant to guide you toward your next chapter. What makes these new relationships so significant is that they often show up during periods of transition. Perhaps you are emerging from a time of personal struggle, and these people arrive to help guide you into the next phase of your journey. Or maybe you've been seeking a deeper connection with others, and the universe is answering that desire by bringing the right individuals into your life. These people come not by accident, but because they are meant to play a role in your growth and your restoration. New relationships can feel like a breath of fresh air. They provide you with perspectives, experiences, and opportunities that you may not have encountered before. These new people may challenge your beliefs, push you to grow in ways you didn't expect, and open doors that lead to paths you hadn't considered. They introduce you to new ideas, new environments, and new ways of thinking that broaden your understanding of the world. These relationships, whether fleeting or long-lasting, become a catalyst for your transformation. One of the most powerful aspects of encountering new people is the sense of renewal they bring. Relationships have a unique ability to heal, especially when they offer a fresh start or a clean slate. Perhaps you've been carrying emotional baggage from past relationships, wounds that have held you back from fully embracing love, trust, or connection. But as these new people come into your life, they offer you a chance to begin again. They allow you to experience love and friendship without the weight of old expectations or disappointments. In many ways, they offer a clean slate, a new beginning that allows you to heal and grow from the inside out. These new relationships also have a way of awakening parts of you that you may have forgotten about. The people you encounter may bring out qualities in you that have lain dormant for a long time: creativity, joy, passion, or even strength. As you interact with them, you may find yourself rediscovering parts of your own identity that were hidden or overshadowed by past experiences. These people reflect back to you the potential you have within, and through their support and love, you begin to see yourself in a new light. You may begin to believe in yourself again, to trust that there is still so much more for you to experience and achieve. These relationships are not always easy, but they are always purposeful. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay forever, but each one plays a significant role in your journey. Some relationships come as teachers, pushing you to confront old patterns, heal deep wounds, and step into a higher version of yourself. Others arrive as companions, providing comfort, support, and love during difficult times. Some may offer opportunities for growth, pushing you out of your comfort zone, while others provide stability, grounding you when life feels uncertain. The beauty of new relationships is that they allow you to be seen for who you truly are. In these fresh connections, there is no past judgment or history. You are not defined by your mistakes, your failures, or your past struggles. You are given the space to show up as your authentic self, free from the constraints of previous relationships or identities. This openness allows you to form deeper, more genuine connections that are based on who you are in the present moment, not on who you used to be. As you encounter new people, you begin to understand that you are not alone in this journey. You are surrounded by a community of souls who are all on their own paths of growth and transformation. These people may come from different walks of life, but their presence in your life is a reminder that you are connected to something larger than yourself. You begin to see that every encounter, no matter how brief, has the potential to teach you something valuable. The more you embrace these new relationships, the more you realize that they are part of a larger process of restoration, helping you heal, grow, and move forward into a life that is richer, fuller, and more aligned with your true purpose. In encountering new people and relationships, you also start to recognize the power of divine timing. These connections come into your life at the right time, when you are ready to receive them. They are not forced, rushed, or artificial. They emerge naturally, as if they were always meant to be. This understanding of divine timing helps you relax and trust in the process, knowing that every relationship you encounter is part of a greater unfolding that is leading you toward your restoration. These new people are not only helping you heal, but they are also helping you align with your higher self and your divine purpose. As you move forward, these relationships will continue to shape, support, and guide you on your journey to restoration and transformation. When you look back on your past, it's easy to see your failures as something negative or as moments of regret. These failures might have been painful, discouraging, or disappointing, and it's natural to feel disheartened by them. However, if you shift your perspective, you begin to see that these past failures are not roadblocks, but stepping stones that are preparing you for something greater. They are lessons disguised as challenges, each one carrying with it valuable wisdom that you can use to navigate your future. Every failure you've encountered holds within it a lesson that can help you avoid the same pitfalls in the future. These lessons are not always immediately clear, and sometimes it takes time for their full significance to unfold. But when you start to view your failures through the lens of growth and possibility, you begin to realize that they were never meant to hold you back. They were meant to teach you how to move forward more wisely, more powerfully, and more equipped to face the future. Your past failures are like the training ground for your success. Think of them as the test that prepared you for the bigger challenges ahead. If you were to achieve success without experiencing failure, you would miss the invaluable insights that only come from falling down, getting up, and learning along the way. Failures force you to reassess your approach, your beliefs, and your strategies. They teach you resilience, patience, and the importance of persistence. Each setback forces you to adjust, learn, and grow, which is precisely what makes you stronger. When you embrace the lessons within your failures, you also develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. You begin to understand your own patterns, behaviors, and thought processes, and you can see where you went wrong in the past. This awareness allows you to make better choices moving forward. You become more attuned to the signals of life and the choices you need to make, so you can avoid repeating the same mistakes. In this way, your past failures become invaluable guides on your journey, showing you where you can improve, where you need to change, and where you have already succeeded. As you learn from your past failures, you also learn to release the guilt or shame that may have been attached to them. Instead of carrying the weight of regret, you begin to view your mistakes with compassion and understanding. You realize that they were a necessary part of your journey, not something to be ashamed of. When you accept that failure is an inevitable part of life, you release the fear of it, and in doing so, you free yourself from the paralysis that fear can cause. You become empowered by the knowledge that failure is not final. It is simply a part of the process, a lesson that brings you closer to your ultimate goal. What's truly transformative is the shift in mindset that occurs when you see your past failures as lessons for the future. You start to approach life differently. Rather than fearing failure, you embrace it as a tool for growth. You take risks, try new things, and push yourself beyond your comfort zone, knowing that if you stumble along the way, you will learn something valuable. You become more willing to fail because you understand that with each failure, you are one step closer to success. As you gain wisdom from your past, you begin to develop an unshakable faith in your ability to overcome obstacles. You no longer see setbacks as signs of your incompetence or inadequacy. Instead, you see them as opportunities to refine your skills, deepen your character, and gain clarity. This faith in your ability to learn from the past enables you to approach future challenges with confidence and poise. You no longer fear the unknown because you know that no matter what happens, you will emerge wiser and more capable. Your past failures also provide you with a unique perspective that can benefit others. As you share your journey with others, you are able to offer guidance and insight based on the lessons you've learned through your own struggles. Your experiences become a source of strength not only for you, but for those who are navigating similar challenges. You become a beacon of hope for others, showing them that failure is not something to be feared, but something that can be used to propel them toward their own success. Your past failures are not a sign of defeat, but a testament to your perseverance, growth, and resilience. Each lesson learned is a building block that lays the foundation for your future. The wisdom gained from those experiences will guide you, help you make better decisions, and give you the strength to face whatever comes your way. When you understand that failure is an essential part of the journey, you begin to embrace life fully, knowing that every experience, whether it is a success or a failure, has something valuable to teach you. You can let go of the past and move forward with renewed faith and confidence, ready to create a future that is shaped by the lessons of your past. There are moments in life when everything seems to align perfectly, as though the universe or a higher power is guiding you step by step. This sense of divine timing, though often subtle, can be one of the most profound experiences you'll ever have. It's the feeling that things are happening for a reason, at exactly the right moment, and that all the events in your life, both big and small, are unfolding in a way that is meant to bring you closer to your true purpose. Divine timing isn't something that can be forced or rushed. It operates on its own schedule, one that often defies human logic or understanding. At times, it may feel as though you've been waiting forever for a breakthrough or a shift in your circumstances, but then out of nowhere, everything falls into place at once. This often comes after a period of uncertainty or struggle, when you begin to question whether things will ever change. But when the right opportunities or the right people appear, you realize that every delay, every challenge, and every waiting period was necessary for this moment to happen. The beauty of divine timing lies in its ability to show you that you're exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't seem that way at first. You may have spent years working toward a goal, only to have it feel out of reach or unattainable. But when the time is right, it arrives not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. This sense of timing is not just about the external world coming together, but also about your internal alignment. It's a feeling of being in sync with life, a sense that you are finally on the path you were meant to walk, at the precise time you were meant to walk it. When divine timing operates in your life, it often leads to a deep sense of peace and trust. It allows you to release the pressure of trying to control everything and embrace the flow of life. Instead of forcing things to happen or worrying about what comes next, you start to trust that what is meant for you will come to you in due time. You begin to understand that timing is everything, and that there is no need to rush, because life is unfolding exactly as it should. This trust in divine timing also brings a sense of freedom. It frees you from the constant need to strive and struggle, believing that you must do everything yourself to make things happen. Instead, you begin to surrender to the process, knowing that there are forces at work beyond your understanding. When you let go of the need to control the outcome, you find that the universe works in your favor, presenting you with opportunities, connections, and experiences that you might not have even imagined. Divine timing often reveals itself through synchronicities, those moments when seemingly unrelated events come together in a way that feels purposeful and meaningful. You may meet someone at exactly the right moment who opens a door for you, or you may come across a piece of information that suddenly makes everything clear. These moments feel like magic, and they are a direct reflection of the divine timing at play in your life. You begin to notice the subtle signs and signals that indicate you are exactly where you need to be, and that everything is unfolding as it should. The most important thing about experiencing divine timing is that it requires patience and faith. The waiting period can be challenging, especially when you are unsure of when or how things will shift. But during these times, the key is to trust the process. Every setback, every delay, every moment of uncertainty is part of the journey. It's preparing you for the breakthrough that's coming. And when it does arrive, it will feel as though the timing was absolutely perfect. Divine timing also teaches you the power of letting go of expectations. When you release the need for things to happen on your own timetable, you open yourself up to the unexpected blessings that life has in store for you. The more you align with this flow, the more you begin to see that everything is happening for your highest good. This deeper understanding allows you to embrace life with more grace, knowing that even in moments of hardship, divine timing is at work, guiding you toward your greatest potential. Experiencing a sense of divine timing is about embracing the idea that life is not happening to you, but with you. It's about recognizing that every moment, every encounter, and every experience is part of a much larger tapestry that is being woven with care and intention. When you begin to understand and trust this, you stop feeling rushed. Stop feeling like you're missing out, and start appreciating the perfect timing of the universe in all aspects of your life. You realize that you are never late, that you are always exactly where you need to be, and that every moment is leading you to the next great chapter of your journey. As we reflect on these signs, we come to understand that the restoration of your wasted year isn't just about the passing of time, it's about the transformative power of divine timing, faith, and personal growth. Each of the 7 signs we've explored reveals the incredible journey you're on, a journey that's guided by a higher power and infused with lessons, opportunities, and growth. Whether it's the increasing desire for change, the shift in mindset, or the newfound peace amidst chaos, every experience is aligning you with the life you've been destined to lead. It's not about how long things take or the struggles you face along the way. It's about trusting the process, embracing the lessons, and knowing that everything is happening for a reason. The restoration of your year is a reminder that the universe works in its own time, and that everything you've been through has prepared you for the abundant blessings ahead. I want to thank you for being here today, for taking the time to reflect, and for opening your heart to the message of restoration and divine timing. May this moment mark the beginning of a new chapter in your life, where everything falls into place, and you step into the fullness of your purpose. Trust that your time is now, and what is meant for you will never pass you by. Thank you. In the face of life's trials, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, as though the weight of the world is pressing on your shoulders. Problems, be they financial struggles, relationship challenges, or battles with your own self-worth, can seem insurmountable. Yet there exists a power far greater than any problem you will ever encounter. That power is your God, the infinite source of strength, wisdom, and love. Today I want to remind you of this simple truth: your problems may look big, but they are nothing compared to the boundless power of God. When you truly grasp this, when you believe it, and when you act upon it, mountains move, and obstacles crumble. Together, let us journey into this profound realization and awaken the divine potential already within you. Imagine for a moment standing in the middle of a vast desert. The scorching sun beats down relentlessly. You are thirsty, lost, and surrounded by endless dunes of sand. The longer you stand there, the more hopeless it feels. Now, let me ask you what would happen if in that very moment you remembered that just beneath the surface there was an underground river of pure, life-giving water waiting for you. Would you keep wandering in despair, or would you dig? This is where many of us are in life. We stand in our personal deserts, drowning in financial debt, consumed by heartbreak or paralyzed by fear. We convince ourselves there is no way out. But I'm here to tell you something extraordinary. You are not alone, and the answer you seek is already here. What if I told you that every problem you face is an illusion of separation, a trick of the mind that makes you forget the limitless power of God? What if the very thing that feels impossible to overcome is, in fact, the stage on which your breakthrough will take place? Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you will see that your problems, no matter how overwhelming, are but shadows in the presence of divine light. And when you align with this truth, nothing can stand against you. The infinite power of God is a truth so profound that, when fully grasped, it transforms lives. To recognize this power is not merely to acknowledge it with words, but to allow its reality to permeate your being, to become the foundation of your faith, and to shape your actions. It is the difference between seeing God as an abstract idea and experiencing Him as the all-encompassing force that governs the universe in your life. Pause for a moment and reflect on the grandeur of creation. The sun rises each day without fail, illuminating the world and sustaining life. The stars, billions of them, are perfectly positioned in the vast expanse of the universe, each one a testament to an order far beyond human comprehension. The same force that commands the galaxies and orchestrates the symphony of nature is the very essence of the God we serve. And yet, as vast and incomprehensible as this power is, it is also deeply personal, intimately aware of every thought, every struggle, and every longing within you. To recognize God's infinite power, you must first confront your limitations. How often do we attempt to navigate life with our finite understanding, leaning on our own strength to solve problems that overwhelm us? When faced with challenges, we default to worry, anxiety, and doubt, as though the weight of the world rests solely on our shoulders. But consider this: the very fact that you feel burdened is evidence that you are attempting to carry what was never yours to bear. God's power is not distant or inaccessible, it is here, now waiting for you to release your grip and trust in Him completely. This recognition begins with a shift in perspective. Problems appear insurmountable when viewed through the lens of human limitation. A mountain may seem unmovable when you stand at its base, but from the perspective of the heavens, it is but a speck. Your trials, no matter how colossal they seem, are minuscule in the presence of God. He is not bound by the constraints of time, space, or circumstance. What seems impossible to you is already accomplished in His divine will. To recognize this is to unlock the door to miracles. Faith is the bridge to this recognition. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is a deep, unshakable knowing that God's power is real and at work in your life. It is the conviction that even when you cannot see the outcome, God is already orchestrating the solution. When you recognize His power, fear loses its grip. Anxiety dissipates, and a quiet confidence takes its place. You begin to move, speak, and live as though the problem has already been resolved, not because of your ability, but because of His. One of the most profound ways to recognize God's power is through gratitude. Gratitude acknowledges what God has already done and opens your heart to receive more of His blessings. When you look back on your life, you will find countless instances where His power carried you through. Perhaps it was a financial breakthrough when you were at your lowest, a relationship mended against all odds, or an inner strength that rose within you during a season of despair. These are not coincidences, they are reminders of His faithfulness and omnipotence. To truly recognize God's power, You must also silence the voices of doubt. Doubt is the enemy of faith, a whisper that says, "What if God doesn't come through?" But ask yourself this: has He ever failed you? The very breath in your lungs is evidence of His sustaining power. The same God who breathed life into you, who formed you with purpose and precision, is the God who promises to be your refuge and strength. He does not abandon, He does not falter. His power is unchanging, eternal, and unmatched. When you recognize God's power, you also begin to see your problems differently. They are no longer obstacles, but opportunities for God to demonstrate His greatness. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who calmed the storm with a word, and who brought the dead to life is the God who is at work in your situation. Do you believe that? Truly believe it? Because when you do, fear gives way to faith, and despair turns into hope. Prayer is a powerful tool in recognizing God's power. Prayer is not just asking for what you need, it is a declaration of who God is. When you pray, you align yourself with His infinite power. You are not informing God of your problems, He already knows. Prayer is your way of saying, "I trust you, I believe in your power. I surrender my worries to you." It is in this surrender that His power becomes evident. Not because it wasn't there before, but because you have made room for it to manifest in your life. Recognizing God's power requires action. Faith without works is dead, and belief without action is incomplete. When you truly believe in God's infinite power, you will act in alignment with that belief. You will step forward even when the path is unclear, trusting that He will guide your steps. You will speak words of faith, even when doubt tries to creep in. You will approach your problems not with a spirit of fear, but with the confidence that the God of the universe is fighting on your behalf. Remember this: God's power is not a distant concept or an abstract idea. It is real, present, and available to you. It is bigger than any problem, stronger than any storm, and more enduring than any trial. To recognize it is to live in freedom, knowing that you are not alone, and that victory is already yours. Open your heart to this truth, and you will see His power at work in ways that exceed your wildest expectations. Your perspective shapes your reality. The way you view your problems determines how you respond to them, and how you respond ultimately defines the outcome. When life confronts you with challenges, it is natural to feel trapped, as though there is no way out. But what if the very key to overcoming those challenges lies not in changing the situation, but in shifting the way you see it? Perspective is the lens through which you interpret the world. And when you align that lens with the truth of God's infinite power, what once seemed impossible becomes entirely achievable. Imagine standing before a towering mountain. From where you stand, it seems immovable, its vastness overwhelming. But what happens when you change your perspective? When you ascend to the skies and look down, that same mountain becomes a small part of a much larger landscape. It loses its power to intimidate you because you see it differently. The mountain has not changed, but your perspective has transformed, and with it, your approach to climbing it. The problems you face in life are no different. They loom large when viewed through the lens of fear and limitation. They seem insurmountable when your focus is on your lack of resources, strength, or answers. But the moment you shift your perspective, something miraculous happens. You begin to see your challenges not as barriers, but as stepping stones. You realize that every difficulty carries within it the seed of growth, the potential for transformation, and an opportunity for God's power to be revealed. To shift your perspective, you must first recognize the limitations of your current view. Many of us are conditioned to see life through the narrow lens of human logic and past experiences. We measure possibilities by what we have seen or done before, and in doing so, we place unnecessary limits on what can happen. But God's perspective is limitless. He sees the end from the beginning. He knows the purpose behind every trial and the victory that lies beyond it. When you choose to see through His eyes, you begin to perceive the fullness of possibilities, even in the face of adversity. Faith is the catalyst for this shift. Faith allows you to see beyond the visible, to trust in what you cannot yet grasp with your senses. It invites you to step outside the confines of fear and embrace a perspective rooted in hope and assurance. When you face a problem, faith whispers, "This is not the end, this is the beginning of something greater." It reminds you that what looks like a setback is often a setup for a breakthrough. Faith shifts your focus from the problem to the God who is infinitely greater than it. One of the most powerful shifts in perspective you can make is to see your problems as opportunities. This is not about denying the difficulty or pretending everything is fine. It is about recognizing that every challenge has the potential to teach, refine, and elevate you. When you view your struggles as opportunities for growth, you move from a place of victimhood to a place of empowerment. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger?" Gratitude is another key to shifting your perspective. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, your entire outlook changes. Gratitude opens your eyes to the blessings that are already present, even in the midst of hardship. It shifts your attention from the size of the problem to the abundance of God's provision. When you cultivate a spirit of gratitude, you begin to see how God has been faithful in the past, and this strengthens your faith for the present and future. Prayer is also a powerful tool for perspective transformation. In prayer, you bring your concerns before God, but more importantly, you align your heart and mind with His truth. Prayer is not about informing God of your struggles, He already knows them. It is about recalibrating your perspective to see your struggles through the lens of His promises. In prayer, you are reminded that you are not alone, that you have access to divine wisdom, and that nothing is too hard for Him. Another way to shift your perspective is to surround yourself with the right influences. The voices you listen to and the company you keep have a profound impact on how you see your life. Choose to fill your mind with words of encouragement, faith, and truth. Seek out those who uplift and inspire you rather than those who reinforce negativity. When you surround yourself with people and resources that align with God's perspective, your own perspective begins to change. Action is the final piece of the puzzle. Shifting your perspective is not a passive process, it requires intentionality. Take steps to align your thoughts, words, and actions with the new perspective you are cultivating. If you believe that God is greater than your problem, act as though that is true. Speak words of faith, even when doubt tries to creep in. Move forward with confidence, even when the path is unclear. Your actions will reinforce your new perspective and help solidify it as your default way of thinking. Shifting your perspective is about choosing to see your life through the lens of God's truth, rather than the limitations of your circumstances. It is about trusting that even in the darkest moments there is light. Even in the most difficult trials there is purpose. And even when the odds seem stacked against you, there is victory. When you make this shift, your problems lose their power to paralyze you. Instead, they become opportunities for growth, transformation, and the revelation of God's glory in your life. Faith is the unshakable foundation upon which your life must stand. When storms arise and the winds of doubt and fear threaten to overwhelm you, faith becomes your anchor, holding you steady and preventing you from being swept away by the currents of despair. It is not a passive belief, but an active trust in the promises and power of God. A trust that transforms the way you face challenges and navigate the uncertainties of life. To anchor yourself in faith means to root your heart and mind in the certainty that God is who He says He is and will do what He has promised. Faith is not wishful thinking, it is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. It requires you to look beyond the visible circumstances and hold firmly to the unseen truths of God's power, love, and sovereignty. When you are anchored in faith, your confidence does not come from what you see or feel, but from the unchanging nature of God. The first step to anchoring yourself in faith is recognizing the futility of relying solely on your own strength. Life is filled with situations that are beyond your control, problems that defy human solutions, and challenges that seem insurmountable. When you try to face these with your limited resources, you inevitably feel overwhelmed. Faith shifts your reliance from your own abilities to God's infinite power. It is the acknowledgement that while you are limited, He is limitless. While you may be weak, He is strong. And while you may not see the way forward, He has already paved the path. Faith requires surrender, a letting go of the need to understand every detail or control every outcome. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength. It is the realization that your greatest victories will not come from striving, but from trusting. When you anchor yourself in faith, you release the burden of worry and place your trust in God's hands. This act of surrender frees you from the paralyzing grip of fear and allows you to move forward with peace and assurance. Faith also demands persistence. It is easy to believe when everything is going well, but true faith is tested in the valleys, in the moments when answers seem delayed, and when the weight of waiting threatens to crush your spirit. Anchoring yourself in faith means refusing to waver, even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. It is standing firm in the belief that God's timing is perfect and that His plans for you are good, even when you cannot yet see the outcome. This kind of faith is not blind optimism, it is a deep-rooted conviction that God is faithful and will fulfill His promises. One of the greatest tools for anchoring yourself in faith is remembering God's faithfulness in the past. Reflect on the times when He came through for you, the moments when what seemed impossible became reality because of His intervention. These memories are like anchors themselves, grounding you in the truth that if He was faithful then, He will be faithful now. By looking back on His track record, you reinforce your confidence in His unchanging nature. Faith grows stronger when you speak and declare it. Words have power, and when you choose to speak words of faith rather than fear, you align your heart and mind with God's promises. Even in the face of doubt, declare His truth. I am not alone, God is with me. This situation is not too big for Him. He is my provider, my protector, and my guide. These affirmations are not just for comfort, they are acts of spiritual warfare, pushing back against the voices of doubt and fear that seek to shake your faith. Prayer is another anchor for your faith. Through prayer, you connect directly with the source of your strength, laying your concerns at His feet and inviting His presence into your situation. Prayer is not merely a request for help, it is an act of trust, a declaration that you believe He hears you and will respond. In prayer, you exchange your anxiety for His peace, your uncertainty for His assurance. Every time you pray, you tighten your grip on the anchor of faith, reminding yourself that you are not alone in your struggles. Surrounding yourself with people of faith is equally important. When you are anchored in faith, it helps to be in the company of those who share your belief and can encourage you when your strength wavers. Their testimonies of God's goodness can inspire you to keep believing, and their prayers can uplift you in times of need. Faith is contagious, and being part of a community that trusts in God reinforces your own faith and provides support when you feel weak. Faith also calls you to act. Being anchored in faith does not mean passively waiting for everything to change. It means stepping out, even when the path is unclear, because you trust that God will guide your steps. Faith without action is incomplete. When you move forward in faith, even with uncertainty, you demonstrate your trust in God's provision and open the door for Him to work through your obedience. Anchoring yourself in faith is about perspective. It is choosing to see your problems through the lens of God's power rather than your limitations. It is recognizing that no matter how fierce the storm, the one who calms the seas is with you. When you anchor yourself in faith, you are unshakable. The winds may blow and the waves may rise, but you remain steadfast, knowing that your foundation is secure. God is greater than any challenge you face. And when you anchor yourself in faith, you stand rooted in that unassailable truth. Words have an undeniable power. They shape your thoughts, influence your actions, and set the tone for your life. What you speak over your problems has the ability to magnify them or diminish them, to bring life into your situation or to drain it away. When you speak life over your problems, you align yourself with the power of faith and the promises of God. You declare that your challenges are not the end of your story, but merely stepping stones to greater triumphs. The first step in speaking life over your problems is to recognize the authority of your words. Every word you utter carries weight, influencing your emotions, thoughts, and circumstances. When you speak words of defeat, doubt, or fear, you give power to those forces. But when you speak words of faith, hope, and victory, you invite solutions, strength, and divine intervention into your situation. Your words are seeds, and what you plant with your tongue will grow into the reality you experience. Speaking life is not merely a positive attitude, it is an act of faith that calls forth God's promises into existence. To speak life, you must first guard your tongue against negativity. It is easy to complain about your circumstances, to voice frustration or despair, especially when your problems seem overwhelming. However, every time you dwell on the problem instead of the solution, you reinforce its grip on your life. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," declare, "All things are possible with God," instead of lamenting, "I am not enough," proclaim, "Through Him I am more than enough." This shift in language creates a shift in perspective and allows you to see opportunities where there once seemed to be only obstacles. Speaking life requires you to align your words with truth, not appearances. Faith does not deny the existence of problems, it denies them the final say. When you speak life over your problems, you acknowledge their presence but declare their defeat. You say, "This sickness may be in my body, but by His stripes I am healed," you affirm. "This financial challenge may be real, but my God shall supply all my needs according to His riches in glory." These declarations are not just wishful thinking, they are rooted in the unchanging promises of God, who is faithful to perform what He has spoken. Another key to speaking life is to focus on gratitude. Gratitude shifts your attention from what is lacking to what is abundant. It is a powerful weapon against despair because it reminds you of God's past faithfulness and builds your confidence in His ability to act again. Even in the midst of your problems, there is always something to be thankful for. By thanking God in advance for the breakthrough, you demonstrate your trust in His power and His timing. Gratitude turns your focus away from the problem and toward the solution, enabling you to speak life with authenticity and conviction. Surround yourself with an environment that reinforces the language of life. Spend time with people who speak encouragement and faith, and avoid those who constantly dwell on negativity and doubt. Listen to uplifting messages, read scriptures that remind you of God's power, and immerse yourself in an atmosphere that fosters belief. Your words are influenced by what you hear and absorb, so be intentional about creating a space where speaking life becomes second nature. Speaking life is not just about your own circumstances, it is about being a vessel of life for others. When you encourage someone else, when you speak hope into their challenges and affirm their worth, you not only lift their spirits but also strengthen your own faith. Your words have the power to build bridges of hope, not only for yourself but for those around you. By choosing to speak life in every situation, you become a beacon of light, reminding others of the power of faith and the greatness of God. Speaking life over your problems is a declaration of victory, a proclamation that God is bigger than any challenge you face. It is a reminder that your words, when spoken in faith, are a powerful tool for transformation. No matter how daunting your problems may seem, they are no match for the God who walks with you. Speak life boldly and watch as your words shape your reality, bringing hope, healing, and restoration into every area of your life. Releasing control is one of the most transformative yet challenging steps on the journey of faith. It requires surrendering the illusion that we are the masters of our destiny and instead trusting in a higher power that sees the entirety of our lives with perfect clarity. Control is a defense mechanism we often cling to, believing that by holding tightly to outcomes, we can protect ourselves from uncertainty and pain. But in truth, this need for control often creates more anxiety, frustration, and resistance than it resolves. Releasing control is not about giving up, it's about letting go of the struggle and trusting that God's plans are greater than our own. When you release control, you shift from striving to aligning. Striving implies a relentless effort to force things into place, to make life conform to your own limited understanding of what is best. Aligning, however, is a state of flow where your actions, thoughts, and intentions harmonize with the divine will. It's the realization that you don't need to have all the answers or foresee every step, because you are being guided by one who knows the end from the beginning. Letting go of control is an act of profound faith, affirming that God's wisdom and timing are perfect, even when they don't align with your immediate desires. Letting go of control also means releasing the need to understand every detail. As humans, we crave clarity and explanations. We want to know why certain things happen, why prayers are delayed, or why doors remain closed. But God's ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. When you release control, you embrace the mystery of divine timing and trust that even unanswered questions serve a purpose in the grand design of your life. It is in this space of surrender that you find peace, knowing that you don't need to have all the answers because you are held by the one who does. Releasing control allows you to rest. Control is exhausting, it drains your energy and robs you of joy. When you try to manage every detail of your life, you carry burdens you were never meant to bear. But when you release control, you place those burdens into God's hands, where they belong. This doesn't mean you stop taking action or being responsible. It means you stop carrying the weight of outcomes. You do what you can with what you have and trust God to handle the rest. This shift from striving to resting is liberating, freeing you to focus on the present moment rather than worrying about the future. Letting go also makes space for grace. When you hold tightly to your own plans, you can inadvertently block the blessings and opportunities God has prepared for you. Releasing control opens the door for His grace to flow freely into your life. It allows Him to work in ways that exceed your expectations, often bringing outcomes you could never have orchestrated on your own. Grace fills the gaps where your strength ends, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. Releasing control is not a one-time decision, it is a daily practice. It requires vigilance to recognize when fear and doubt creep in, tempting you to take matters into your own hands. It requires humility to admit that your own efforts are limited and that you need divine intervention. And it requires trust, a deep, unwavering trust that God is for you, not against you, and that He is working all things together for your good. Each day as you release control, you grow in faith, becoming more attuned to His guidance and more resilient in the face of challenges. One of the most beautiful aspects of releasing control is the freedom it brings. When you let go of the need to manipulate outcomes, you free yourself from the chains of worry and anxiety. You become less attached to specific results and more open to the unfolding of God's plan. This freedom allows you to live with greater joy and gratitude, knowing that you are not responsible for carrying the weight of the world. Instead, you are free to experience life as it comes, trusting that every moment, whether joyful or difficult, is part of a larger purpose. Releasing control also deepens your relationship with God. It shifts your focus from what you can do to what He can do through you. It fosters a posture of humility and surrender, reminding you that your strength is found not in your own efforts but in His power. This intimacy with God grows as you continually place your trust in Him, leaning on His promises and seeking His guidance. It is in this place of surrender that you experience His presence most profoundly, feeling His peace and assurance even in the midst of uncertainty. Releasing control is an act of love. It is saying, God, I trust you more than I trust myself. I believe in your goodness, your faithfulness, and your power to lead me through every season of life. It is acknowledging that while you may not see the whole picture, you are part of a divine masterpiece created by a loving hand. When you release control, you step into the freedom, peace, and joy that come from knowing that God is in control and that His plans for you are far greater than anything you could imagine. Visualizing victory is a profound and transformative practice that bridges the gap between faith and manifestation. It is the act of seeing yourself already triumphant, already living in the fulfillment of your desires, and already walking in the reality of your breakthrough. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a spiritual discipline rooted in the belief that what you focus on becomes your reality. To visualize the victory is to plant seeds of faith in the soil of your imagination, allowing them to grow and manifest into your lived experience. It is an act of declaring, through thought and intention, that the promises of God are already yours. Your mind is a powerful tool, capable of shaping your reality in ways you may not fully understand. When you visualize victory, you activate the power of your imagination, which is the creative force through which God works in you. Imagination is not mere fantasy, it is the faculty that enables you to conceive of a life beyond your current circumstances. It is the blueprint for your future, the map that guides you from where you are to where you want to be. By consistently visualizing the victory, you align your thoughts with your desires, creating a mental and spiritual pathway for their realization. Victory begins in the mind. Before it manifests in the physical world, it must first be conceived in your thoughts. When you visualize, you are not just imagining success, you are stepping into the feeling of already having achieved it. You see yourself as victorious, free, and abundant. You allow your mind to dwell on the end result rather than the obstacles. This is crucial because what you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, they grow in your perception. If you focus on victory, you expand your awareness of opportunities, solutions, and divine guidance. So to visualize victory is to claim it as your own. It is to affirm that the battle is already won, even if the circumstances around you suggest otherwise. This requires faith, a belief that transcends what your physical senses can perceive. Faith enables you to see the unseen, to grasp the invisible truths that exist in the spiritual realm. When you visualize your victory, you are declaring it is done even before the evidence appears. This declaration aligns your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality you are calling forth. Visualization is not just about seeing, it's about feeling. It's not enough to picture your desired outcome, you must also immerse yourself in the emotions of having already achieved it. Feel the joy, peace, and gratitude of victory as if it has already come to pass. These emotions are powerful signals to the universe and to your subconscious mind, reinforcing your belief and drawing your desires closer to you. When you visualize with emotion, you create a resonance between your inner world and the outer reality you seek to manifest. One of the most transformative aspects of visualizing victory is the way it reshapes your mindset. As you repeatedly see yourself victorious, you begin to internalize the belief that you are capable, worthy, and destined for success. This shift in belief changes the way you approach challenges. You no longer see obstacles as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to grow, learn, and move closer to your goals. Your confidence increases, your resilience strengthens, and you become more attuned to the divine guidance that leads you to your victory. Visualization also helps you to stay focused. In a world filled with distractions and negativity, it is easy to lose sight of your goals. By consistently visualizing your victory, you keep your mind fixed on what truly matters. You train your thoughts to dwell on possibilities rather than limitations, on solutions rather than problems. This focus creates clarity, enabling you to make decisions and take actions that align with your desired outcome. It is a discipline that keeps you anchored in faith and purpose, even in the face of adversity. When you visualize victory, you also open yourself to divine inspiration. As you meditate on the vision of your desired outcome, new ideas, strategies, and opportunities begin to emerge. This is not coincidence, it is the result of aligning your thoughts with the divine will. Your mind becomes a vessel through which God's wisdom flows, guiding you step by step toward your breakthrough. Visualization is not passive, it is an active partnership with the Creator, a way of co-creating your reality in alignment with His purpose for your life. Consistency is key in visualization. It's not something you do once and forget, it's a daily practice that reinforces your faith and strengthens your resolve. Each time you visualize your victory, you are building a foundation of belief that becomes unshakable. This consistency also builds momentum, creating a ripple effect that influences every area of your life. As your thoughts align with victory, your words, actions, and attitudes follow suit, creating a powerful synergy that accelerates your progress. It's important to remember that visualization is not a substitute for action, it is the inspiration for it. Seeing the victory in your mind compels you to take steps toward making it a reality. It motivates you to persevere, even when the journey is difficult, because you have already seen the end result. This vision becomes your North Star, guiding you through challenges and reminding you why you started in the first place. It fuels your determination, strengthens your faith, and keeps you moving forward. Visualizing victory is an act of worship. It is a way of honoring God's promises and expressing your trust in His power to bring them to pass. It is declaring that you believe in His goodness, His faithfulness, and His ability to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you ask or think. By visualizing your victory, you are not just imagining a better future, you are stepping into the reality of God's promises, living as though they are already fulfilled. This act of faith not only transforms your circumstances but also deepens your relationship with the one who holds your victory in His hands. Taking inspired action is the natural extension of faith and visualization. It is the bridge between belief and manifestation, where your trust in God's promises is expressed through deliberate and purposeful steps. Inspired action is not the same as mere busyness or activity. It flows from a place of inner alignment where your heart, mind, and spirit are attuned to divine guidance. This is the kind of action that carries the force of purpose, propels you toward your goals, and brings your desires into reality. It is deliberate, empowered, and anchored in the conviction that what you seek is already yours. The foundation of inspired action is clarity. When you have a clear vision of what you desire and believe wholeheartedly in its fulfillment, you begin to notice pathways and opportunities that may have been invisible before. Clarity allows you to discern between distractions and meaningful steps. It guides you to invest your time, energy, and resources in actions that are aligned with your purpose. This is not about striving in desperation. It's about moving with intention and faith, trusting that each step you take is guided by God's wisdom and leads you closer to your desired outcome. Inspired action begins with listening. To act in alignment with divine guidance, you must first be open to receiving it. This requires a quieting of the mind, a willingness to be still, and a readiness to hear the whisper of God's voice. Inspiration often comes as a gentle nudge, a sudden insight, or a persistent idea that resonates deeply within you. It may not always make logical sense at the time, but it carries a sense of peace and certainty. When you feel this divine prompting, trust it. Acting on these whispers is an act of obedience and faith that aligns you with God's will. Faith without works is dead. To take inspired action is to put your faith into motion. It is not enough to believe and visualize, you must also step out and do your part. Imagine a farmer praying for a bountiful harvest. While prayer and faith are essential, the farmer must still plant seeds, water them, and tend to the soil. Similarly, inspired action is your way of planting seeds in the garden of your dreams. Each step you take is an investment in your future, a declaration that you trust God to bring the increase. Courage is often required when taking inspired action. The steps you feel led to take may challenge you to move out of your comfort zone, face fears, or risk failure. This is where faith becomes tangible. Trusting in God's promises means trusting that He has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. It means believing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and every setback is a setup for a greater blessing. Courage allows you to take the first step, even when the path ahead is unclear, knowing that God will illuminate the way as you move forward. Consistency is another crucial aspect of inspired action. Manifestation is not an overnight process, it requires persistence and dedication. Consistency demonstrates your commitment to the vision you've been given. It shows that you are serious about partnering with God to bring it to pass. Even small, seemingly insignificant actions can have a profound impact when performed consistently over time. Think of these actions as drops of water that eventually fill the bucket. Every step, no matter how small, contributes to the manifestation of your desires. Inspired action also requires a mindset of flexibility and surrender. While it is important to have a plan, you must remain open to divine redirection. Sometimes the path to your goal may not unfold as you expect. Trust that God's ways are higher than yours, and that His plans are always for your good. When things don't go as planned, don't be discouraged. Instead, seek His guidance and adjust your course as needed. Flexibility allows you to stay aligned with His purpose while remaining steadfast in your pursuit of your vision. It's important to remember that inspired action is not about forcing outcomes. You don't need to make things happen through sheer effort or willpower. Instead, focus on aligning your actions with your beliefs and trusting that God is working behind the scenes. This is a cooperative process. As you take steps forward, God meets you where you are, opening doors, providing resources, and orchestrating circumstances in your favor. Trust in His timing and let go of the need to control every detail. Gratitude is a powerful force that enhances inspired action. When you act from a place of gratitude, you acknowledge the blessings you already have and express trust in the blessings yet to come. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to faith. It infuses your actions with joy and purpose, making the journey as fulfilling as the destination. As you take inspired steps, give thanks for every opportunity, every lesson, and every moment of progress. Taking inspired action is an act of co-creation. You are not alone in this process. As you move forward in faith, you are partnering with the Creator of the universe. This partnership is a divine dance, where your steps are guided by His wisdom, your efforts are multiplied by His power, and your vision is brought to life through His grace. By taking inspired action, you honor this partnership and demonstrate your trust in His infinite ability to bring your dreams to fruition. Every step you take in alignment with your vision brings you closer to its manifestation. Each action, no matter how small, is a declaration of faith and an investment in the life you are creating. Trust the process, stay aligned with divine guidance, and keep moving forward with confidence and purpose. In doing so, you will not only achieve your goals but also deepen your relationship with God, growing in faith, wisdom, and gratitude along the way. Praising through the storm is an act of defiance against despair and a declaration of unwavering faith. It is the decision to look beyond the chaos of your circumstances and lift your voice in gratitude and trust, knowing that God is greater than any storm you may face. This act of praise is not dependent on the absence of challenges, but is a conscious choice to honor God's sovereignty even in the midst of them. When the winds of adversity blow and the waves threaten to overwhelm, praise becomes your anchor, grounding you in the certainty of God's love and power. Storms in life are inevitable. They come in the form of trials, disappointments, losses, and setbacks. These storms often seem to strike without warning, leaving you feeling vulnerable and uncertain. In such moments, the temptation is to focus on the storm, to be consumed by the fear, pain, and confusion it brings. But focusing on the storm only magnifies its power over you. The more you dwell on your problems, the more overwhelming they seem. Praise shifts your focus from the problem to the problem solver, from the storm to the one who calms it. Praising God in the storm is not about pretending the storm isn't real. It is about acknowledging its presence while refusing to let it define you or dictate your response. Praise is a bold proclamation of faith that says, yes, the storm is here, but my God is with me. Yes, the waves are high, but my God is higher. Yes, the winds are strong, but my God is stronger. This perspective transforms your experience of the storm. Instead of being a victim of your circumstances, you become a victor through your faith. When you praise God in the storm, you invite His presence into your situation. The Bible teaches that God inhabits the praises of His people. This means that when you lift your voice in praise, you create an environment where His power and peace can dwell. In His presence there is fullness of joy, even in the midst of trials. There is strength to endure, hope to carry on, and the assurance that you are not alone. Praise becomes a channel through which God's grace flows, sustaining you through the storm and empowering you to overcome it. Praise is an act of spiritual warfare. When you choose to praise God despite your circumstances, you resist the enemy's attempts to fill your heart with doubt, fear, and discouragement. The enemy wants you to believe that the storm will consume you, that you are powerless, and that God has abandoned you. But praise silences these lies. It declares the truth of God's faithfulness, His love, and His ability to work all things together for your good. Every word of praise is a weapon against the forces of darkness, a reminder that the battle is not yours but God's. Praising through the storm requires faith. It is easy to praise God when everything is going well, but it takes faith to praise Him when the outcome is uncertain. This kind of praise is rooted in trust, not in circumstances. It is the faith that knows God is working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. It is the faith that believes His promises are true, even when your reality seems to contradict them. It is the faith that rests in His character, knowing that He is good, loving, and faithful no matter what. Praise shifts your perspective from the temporal to the eternal. Storms are temporary, they come and go. But God's love and promises are eternal. When you praise Him, you remind yourself of this truth. You lift your eyes above the storm and fix them on the one who holds your future. This eternal perspective gives you the strength to endure, the courage to persevere, and the hope to believe that better days are ahead. It reminds you that the storm is not the end of your story, but a chapter in a greater narrative of redemption and victory. One of the most powerful aspects of praising through the storm is its ability to bring peace. Praise quiets the noise of the storm and calms the turmoil within. It shifts your focus from what is wrong to what is right, from what is lacking to what is abundant. It fills your heart with gratitude, which is the antidote to anxiety and despair. Gratitude reminds you of God's past faithfulness, giving you confidence in His present and future provision. When you praise, you release your worries to God and receive His peace in return. Praising God in the storm is a testimony to others. It shows the world that your faith is not dependent on circumstances, but on the unchanging character of God. It demonstrates the power of hope, the resilience of faith, and the strength of a life anchored in God. Your praise in the storm can inspire others to trust Him in their own trials, creating a ripple effect of faith and encouragement. It is a witness to the truth that God is worthy of praise, not just because of what He does, but because of who He is. Praising through the storm prepares the way for your breakthrough. It is an act of surrender that says, God, I trust You. I don't know how or when You will bring me through this, but I know You will. This surrender opens the door for God to move in your situation in ways you cannot imagine. Praise declares your victory before it manifests, aligning your heart and spirit with the outcome you are believing for. It sets the stage for God's power to be revealed, turning your storm into a testimony of His greatness. No matter how fierce the storm, remember that God is with you. He is your refuge and strength, your ever-present help in times of trouble. Lift your voice in praise, not because the storm has ended, but because you know the one who holds it in His hands. Trust that He is working all things for your good, even in the midst of the storm. Praise Him for His faithfulness, His power, and His love. As you do, you will find peace, strength, and the assurance that the storm will pass and His promises will prevail. In life, challenges and storms are inevitable, but through faith, perspective, and intentional action, you can rise above any problem. Recognize that God's power is infinite, greater than anything you could face. Shift your perspective to see beyond your struggles and anchor yourself in unwavering faith. Speak life over your situation, releasing the need to control and trusting that the victory is already won. Visualize your triumph, take inspired action, and praise God even in the darkest moments, knowing His light will always break through. Remember, every trial is an opportunity to grow, to trust, and to strengthen your connection with the divine. God is bigger than your problems, and with Him all things are possible. Let these principles guide you, transforming not just how you face your struggles, but how you live your life. Thank you for joining me on this journey of faith and empowerment. May you walk forward with confidence, peace, and the unshakable knowledge that you are never alone. God's love and strength are always with you. Stay blessed, and may your life be a testimony of His greatness. Thank you. My dear friends, as we journey through the seasons of life, we find that each phase unveils its unique treasures. By the time one reaches the age of 60, a profound transformation begins. It is not a retreat from the world, but rather an elevation to a higher plane of understanding, a place where life is lived with greater intention. In these golden years, solitude emerges not as loneliness, but as a companion rich with wisdom. Imagine sitting in the quiet stillness of your own mind, where the echoes of a lifetime provide answers to questions you once feared to ask. It is here that many discover the true power of being alone, not isolated, but whole. Over 60, validation from others loses its grip. This wisdom whispers, your worth is not tied to their gaze, their words, or their approval, and so they step away from the crowds, not out of bitterness, but because they now carry their worth within, shining as a beacon rather than a reflection. Their peace becomes a fortress. No longer willing to compromise, they guard it fiercely. Gone are the days of enduring drama or entertaining those who drain their spirit. Instead, they choose harmony, a life that flows like a quiet river, undisturbed and clear. Time itself becomes sacred. Each moment, a pearl of immeasurable value, is spent wisely. Why invest in shallow connections when the heart yearns for depth? Why speak meaningless words when silence itself feels profound? This season also brings a hunger for inner reflection. The mind turns inward, marveling at the journey it has traveled. They become painters of their own existence, carefully observing every brushstroke. And in this observation, they find contentment that no worldly interaction could ever offer. And perhaps most revealing is the truth they've come to know about relationships, that every connection is a mirror. To engage with others, they must first engage with themselves. By stepping back, they seek clarity, and they choose to welcome only those who reflect their peace and understanding. So, my friends, when you see those over 60 walking alone or sitting in quiet contemplation, do not pity them. They have discovered something most of us are still chasing, a life filled not with the noise of others, but with the harmonious melody of their own soul. The power of solitude is a profound gift, one that often goes unrecognized in the earlier stages of life, when the pull of external validation and societal expectations is at its peak. Yet, as the years unfold and the distractions of the world begin to wane, the beauty of solitude reveals itself in its fullest glory. For those over 60, solitude is not an act of withdrawal or isolation, but a deliberate choice, a sanctuary where they reconnect with the essence of who they truly are. It becomes a sacred space where the noise of the world fades, and the whisper of the soul grows louder. In solitude, there is no pretense. The masks worn to meet the demands of society are gently laid down. It is a space where authenticity flourishes, untouched by the need to impress or conform. The individual becomes reacquainted with their truest self, the one unshaped by expectations, unscarred by comparisons. For those who embrace it, solitude becomes the canvas upon which they can paint their inner thoughts and feelings, unrestricted by the judgments of others. It is in this quiet state that they rediscover the profound truth that their worth has always existed within them, untouched by the external world. Life, for all its wonders, is often accompanied by a relentless current of distractions, relationships to maintain, careers to build, expectations to fulfill. These distractions, while sometimes necessary, can pull one away from the stillness where wisdom resides. As the years pass, the urgency to participate in every fleeting trend or conversation diminishes. The individual realizes that not all battles need to be fought, not all invitations need to be accepted, and not all opinions need to be entertained. In this realization, solitude becomes a sanctuary, a place to rest and recharge, far from the demands of the external world. To those on the outside, solitude can sometimes appear as loneliness, but there is a profound difference between the two. Loneliness is a yearning for connection, a sense of incompleteness that seeks fulfillment in others. Solitude, on the other hand, is completeness itself. It is the joy of being alone without feeling lonely, the contentment of knowing that one's own company is enough. For those over 60, this understanding becomes a cornerstone of their well-being. They have spent decades navigating the complexities of relationships and social dynamics, and in their solitude they find a peace that transcends the need for constant interaction. The power of solitude lies in its ability to provide clarity. In the quiet moments, the mind is free to wander without interruption, to revisit memories, to reflect on choices made, and to dream of what is yet to come. This clarity is a gift that allows individuals to see their lives with greater perspective, to recognize patterns that may have gone unnoticed in the busyness of their earlier years. It is in these moments that they can discern what truly matters and let go of what no longer serves them. Solitude becomes the crucible where wisdom is forged. As the years unfold, the relationship with time itself begins to shift. For those over 60, time becomes a precious resource, one that is not to be squandered on trivialities. Solitude allows them to savor each moment, to live more fully in the present. In the stillness, they can hear the rustle of leaves, feel the warmth of the sun on their skin, and notice the subtle beauty in the world around them. These experiences, often overlooked in the rush of daily life, become cherished treasures in solitude. Solitude also fosters creativity. Many great works of art, literature, and innovation have been birthed in moments of solitude. Without the distractions of the external world, the mind is free to explore new ideas, to experiment, and to create. For those over 60, this creative energy can be a source of immense joy and fulfillment. Whether it is through writing, painting, gardening, or simply daydreaming, solitude provides the fertile ground for inspiration to flourish. Perhaps most importantly, solitude is a space for spiritual growth. It is in the quiet moments that individuals can connect with the deeper aspects of their being, with the divine or with the universe at large. Solitude invites introspection and meditation, creating an opportunity to explore the mysteries of existence and the nature of the self. For many over 60, these moments of connection bring a profound sense of peace and purpose, a reminder that they are part of something far greater than themselves. Solitude is not about turning away from the world, but about turning toward oneself. It is about embracing the stillness and finding joy in one's own company. It is a celebration of self-reliance, a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. For those who have walked the path of life for 6 decades or more, solitude is not a burden, but a blessing, a time to rest, reflect, and rediscover the beauty within. To understand solitude is to understand the essence of being. It is to see that we are not defined by our interactions or achievements, but by the quiet strength that lies at our core. For those over 60, solitude is a homecoming, a return to the self, and a reminder that in the stillness all the answers we seek can be found. There comes a point in life when the constant need for validation, which drives so many of our actions in youth, begins to fade. For many people over 60, this shift is not just a gradual change, it is a profound liberation. Freedom from validation is one of the most empowering realizations of later life, a state of being where one's worth is no longer tethered to the opinions, judgments, or approval of others. It is a freedom born from experience, reflection, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters in life. Throughout much of life, validation serves as a kind of currency. People seek approval to feel accepted, loved, or acknowledged. This pursuit begins in childhood, as we look to parents and teachers for praise, and continues into adulthood, where careers, relationships, and social standing often hinge on the recognition of others. Yet the deeper truth is that this external validation, while temporarily satisfying, can never truly fulfill us. It is fleeting and often conditional, leaving a void that demands more and more. For those who have lived through decades of this cycle, there comes a realization seeking validation from others is like chasing shadows, an endless pursuit that leads nowhere. By the time one reaches the age of 60, life has often provided ample opportunity to see through the illusion of external validation. The victories and failures, the applause and criticism, the fleeting moments of approval, they all begin to lose their hold. What becomes clear is that true validation cannot come from outside, it must come from within. This understanding is a turning point, a gateway to a life of authenticity and self-acceptance. The freedom from validation brings with it an immense sense of peace. No longer is there a need to mold oneself to fit the expectations of others. The masks that were once worn to gain acceptance are discarded, revealing a self that is unfiltered and true. It is a state of being where one's actions, choices, and beliefs are guided not by the fear of judgment, but by a deep sense of personal integrity. For those over 60, this freedom often feels like shedding a heavy weight that they have carried for far too long. One of the most significant shifts that comes with this freedom is the ability to say no without guilt. When validation is no longer sought, the fear of disappointing others diminishes. This newfound ability to set boundaries is a powerful act of self-respect. It allows individuals to prioritize their own well-being, time and energy without feeling the need to justify their decisions. They no longer feel compelled to attend events, engage in conversations, or maintain relationships that drain them. Instead, they focus on what brings them joy and fulfillment. This freedom also fosters a deeper sense of self-reliance. When people stop looking to others for validation, they begin to trust their own instincts and judgments more fully. They realize that their worth is inherent, not something that needs to be earned or proven. This self-reliance becomes a source of strength, allowing them to navigate life with greater confidence and clarity. They are no longer swayed by the opinions or criticisms of others, because they have learned to trust their own inner voice. For those over 60, freedom from validation often leads to a greater appreciation for authenticity in relationships. They no longer feel the need to impress or be impressed. Instead, they seek connections that are genuine and meaningful. Superficial interactions lose their appeal, and they gravitate toward people who value them for who they truly are, not for what they can offer or how they conform to societal expectations. This shift transforms relationships into spaces of mutual respect and understanding, free from the pressures of pretense. Another profound aspect of this freedom is the courage it brings. Without the need for validation, individuals are more willing to take risks, speak their truth, and stand by their convictions. They no longer fear failure or rejection, because they understand that these are simply part of life's journey. This courage allows them to live more authentically, pursuing passions and interests that may have been set aside in earlier years due to fear of judgment. It is a time when they can finally embrace their true selves without hesitation or apology. The liberation from validation also fosters a deeper connection to inner peace. When one stops chasing approval, the mind becomes quieter and the heart feels lighter. The incessant chatter of "Am I good enough?" or "What will they think?" fades away, replaced by a serene acceptance of oneself. This inner peace is one of the greatest gifts of later life, a reminder that self-worth is not something to be earned, but something to be embraced. The freedom from validation is not about rejecting others or their opinions. It is about recognizing that one's value is not determined by external forces. It is an acknowledgement that we are complete and whole as we are, without the need for constant affirmation from the world. For those over 60, this realization brings a sense of liberation that is both empowering and transformative. It is a time to live life on their own terms, guided by their own values, and to find joy in simply being themselves. This freedom is not just a release from the constraints of others' expectations, it is a return to the self. It is a homecoming to the truth that has always been within, waiting to be rediscovered. In this state, life becomes not a performance, but a genuine expression of who one truly is. For those who have walked the path of life long enough to reach this understanding, freedom from validation is a treasure that no amount of external approval could ever replace. As life unfolds and the years accumulate, there is a profound shift in how individuals perceive and protect their inner world. For many over 60, peace becomes the most sacred treasure, one that is guarded with unwavering resolve. This peace is not merely the absence of conflict or noise, but a deep, abiding state of harmony within a state cultivated through years of experience, reflection, and the conscious decision to let go of what no longer serves them. To be the guardian of one's peace is a powerful act, a declaration that nothing external can disturb the serenity cultivated within. The journey to becoming a guardian of peace often begins with the recognition of how precious and fragile peace truly is. In youth, life can feel like a whirlwind filled with demands, expectations, and the incessant pull of external validation. The pursuit of careers, relationships, and material success often takes precedence, leaving little room to nurture the soul. Yet as the years pass, the noise of the world becomes less alluring, and the value of inner stillness grows more apparent. Those who choose to embrace this stillness find that peace is not something granted by the world, but something created and protected from within. Guarding one's peace is an act of wisdom. It requires the discernment to recognize what disrupts that peace and the courage to distance oneself from it. For many over 60, this means stepping away from toxic relationships, unproductive arguments, and environments that drain their energy. They have learned that not every battle is worth fighting, not every invitation requires acceptance, and not every opinion deserves a response. This wisdom allows them to conserve their emotional and mental energy, directing it toward what truly matters. The ability to say no becomes a cornerstone of guarding one's peace. This small but powerful word carries the weight of self-respect and self-awareness. It is a boundary that protects the individual from being overwhelmed by the demands and expectations of others. By saying no to what disrupts their peace, they create space for what nurtures it, quiet moments of reflection, meaningful connections, and pursuits that bring joy and fulfillment. For those who have spent decades navigating the complexities of life, there is also a deep understanding of the impermanence of external circumstances. They recognize that peace cannot be tethered to things that are fleeting: success, possessions, or even the actions of others. Instead, they root their peace in something unshakable: their own sense of being. This anchoring in the self allows them to remain calm even amidst external chaos, for they have learned that true peace comes from within and cannot be taken away by external forces. Guarding one's peace also requires letting go of the past. Regrets, grievances, and unresolved hurts can be heavy burdens, robbing one of the serenity that comes with the present moment. Those who are guardians of their peace understand the power of forgiveness, not for the sake of others, but for the liberation it brings to their own hearts. By releasing the weight of the past, they free themselves to live fully in the now, unburdened by what cannot be changed. Another key aspect of this guardianship is the ability to navigate the inevitable challenges of life with grace. Age often brings with it a deeper acceptance of life's dualities: joy and sorrow, gain and loss, beginnings and endings. Rather than resisting these natural rhythms, those who guard their peace embrace them, knowing that each experience holds its own lessons and gifts. This acceptance allows them to remain steady in the face of adversity, trusting that even difficult moments will pass. Silence becomes a powerful ally for those who guard their peace. In the quiet, they find clarity and connection to their innermost self. Silence allows them to hear the whispers of their soul, to reflect on what truly matters, and to recharge their spirit. It is in these moments of stillness that they find the strength to protect their peace, to stand firm against the noise of the world, and to remain centered amidst life's uncertainties. The role of a guardian of peace is not about isolation or avoidance, it is about conscious living. It is about choosing what to engage with and what to let go of. It is about prioritizing inner harmony over external approval, authenticity over pretense, and simplicity over complexity. This guardianship is an act of love for oneself and for the life they have been given. It is a commitment to living in alignment with their own values and truths, regardless of what others may think or expect. For those over 60, being a guardian of peace is also a gift they offer to others. By embodying serenity and balance, they inspire those around them to seek the same. Their presence becomes a calming force, a reminder that it is possible to live with grace and equanimity, even in a world filled with turmoil. They show that peace is not something to be sought in the external world, but something to be cultivated within. Guarding one's peace is not about escaping life, but about embracing it fully, with all its beauty and imperfections. It is about creating a sanctuary within oneself, a place where the soul can rest and recharge. For those who have walked the path of life long enough to understand its deeper truths, peace is not just a goal, it is a way of being, a way of honoring themselves and the life they have been blessed to live. And in guarding this peace, they find a profound freedom, a joy that cannot be shaken, and a deep connection to the essence of who they truly are. As the years pass and life's experiences accumulate, there comes a point when the perception of time begins to shift profoundly. For many over 60, time becomes less about quantity and more about quality. It transforms into something sacred, a finite and precious resource that must be guarded and cherished. The awareness of time's fleeting nature deepens, and with that understanding comes a heightened sense of purpose and clarity. This sacredness of time alters priorities, reshapes relationships, and redefines the way life is lived. In youth, time often feels abundant, as though there is an endless reservoir of moments to be spent on anything and everything. People invest their time chasing ambitions, fulfilling obligations, and often spreading themselves thin to meet the demands of others. Yet, as life progresses and decades unfold, the illusion of infinite time fades. What once seemed limitless is now revealed as finite, and with that revelation comes a profound shift in how time is valued. This new perspective brings with it a deep appreciation for the present moment. Those who come to see time as sacred understand that life is lived not in the distant past or uncertain future, but in the now. Each moment becomes an opportunity to experience life fully, to connect with loved ones, to engage in meaningful pursuits, and to nurture the soul. Wasting time on trivial matters or distractions no longer holds appeal. Instead, the focus shifts to what truly matters. This reverence for time often leads to a re-evaluation of priorities. People begin to let go of obligations that no longer serve them, activities that drain their energy, and relationships that lack authenticity. They recognize that their time is too valuable to be spent on things that do not bring joy, growth, or fulfillment. Instead, they choose to invest their time in what aligns with their deepest values, whether that means spending time with family, pursuing passions, traveling, or simply enjoying the beauty of quiet moments. One of the most liberating aspects of viewing time as sacred is the ability to say no without guilt. This small but powerful word becomes a tool for preserving energy and maintaining balance. By setting boundaries, individuals protect their time from being consumed by unnecessary demands or unproductive engagements. They understand that saying no to one thing is saying yes to something else, often something more meaningful and nourishing. For those over 60, time also becomes a lens through which they view relationships. Superficial connections lose their appeal, and there is a deeper yearning for authenticity and depth in interactions. They seek relationships that are reciprocal, enriching, and rooted in mutual respect. Time spent with loved ones becomes more intentional, filled with gratitude and presence. They know that each shared moment is a gift, one that will not come again, and so they savor it fully. The sacredness of time also fosters a sense of mindfulness. The rush and busyness that once characterized daily life give way to a slower, more deliberate pace. Activities are no longer hurried through but experienced with presence and care. Whether it is enjoying a meal, walking in nature, or engaging in a hobby, these moments are approached with an awareness that makes them more vibrant and fulfilling. Mindfulness allows individuals to extract the full richness of each moment, deepening their connection to life itself. For many, this shift in perspective brings with it a desire to leave a legacy, to use the time they have left to make a meaningful impact. Whether through acts of kindness, mentoring others, creating art, or contributing to their community, they seek ways to ensure that their time on earth leaves something of value behind. This sense of purpose adds depth to their days and a sense of fulfillment to their lives. Letting go of regret and fear also becomes a crucial part of honoring the sacredness of time. Dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about the future only steals from the present. Those who embrace the sacredness of time learn to forgive themselves and others, to release burdens that weigh down their spirit, and to approach life with a sense of lightness. They understand that every moment spent in resentment or fear is a moment lost, and so they choose to focus on what brings peace and joy. The recognition of time as sacred also deepens one's connection to self. With fewer distractions and a greater sense of clarity, individuals begin to explore their inner world, to listen to the whispers of their soul. They ask themselves what truly matters, what brings them joy, and what aligns with their authentic self. This introspection leads to a life that feels more true and fulfilling, one that honors the unique journey they have walked. The sacredness of time is not about living in fear of its passing, but about embracing its preciousness. It is about recognizing that every moment is a gift, one that holds the potential for beauty, connection, and meaning. For those who have lived long enough to understand this truth, time becomes not something to be spent recklessly, but something to be cherished deeply. They live with intention, choosing to fill their days with what matters most, and in doing so, they find a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. To see time as sacred is to see life itself as sacred, a series of moments, each one offering its own unique blessing. It is a call to live fully, to love deeply, and to be present in the here and now. And for those who answer this call, life becomes not just a series of passing days, but a journey filled with purpose, gratitude, and joy. As life unfolds and the years pass, the external world gradually loses its grip on the individual's focus. By the time one reaches the later stages of life, there is often a natural turning inward, a desire to understand oneself more deeply and to find meaning in the journey that has been traveled. The journey of inner reflection becomes a sacred path, one that offers profound insights, healing, and a renewed connection to the core of one's being. For those over 60, this inward journey is not a retreat from life, but a rich exploration of its deepest truths. The first step in this journey is the slowing down of external pursuits. Earlier in life, the demands of work, family, and societal expectations often leave little time for deep reflection. The mind is consumed by the busyness of the world, and the self often becomes lost in the noise of external validation and accomplishment. But as these demands lessen, there is an opening of space to look inward without distraction. This is the beginning of self-discovery, a time to ask questions that may have gone unexamined for decades. Who am I, beyond my roles and titles? What has truly mattered in my life? What is the legacy I wish to leave behind? These questions guide the individual into a deeper understanding of their life's journey. Reflection allows them to revisit pivotal moments, to see the patterns and choices that have shaped their path. It offers a new perspective on past successes and failures, joys and sorrows, and the relationships that have defined their experience. What once may have seemed like random events now takes on a sense of coherence, as if every moment, both the painful and the beautiful, was part of a larger tapestry. One of the most profound aspects of inner reflection is the opportunity to make peace with the past. The wounds, regrets, and mistakes that once weighed heavily on the heart can be revisited with compassion and forgiveness. This is not an act of denial, but of integration, acknowledging what has been while choosing to release the burdens that no longer serve. For many, this process is deeply healing, allowing them to move forward with a lighter heart and a greater sense of acceptance for themselves and others. In the quiet moments of reflection, there is also a rediscovery of one's values and passions. The distractions of earlier life often pull individuals away from their authentic selves, leaving their true desires buried beneath layers of obligation and expectation. But as they reflect inwardly, they reconnect with the things that have always brought them joy and meaning. Whether it's a love of art, nature, writing, or simply spending time with loved ones, these rediscovered passions become a source of renewal and purpose. The journey of inner reflection also deepens one's spiritual connection. For many, this stage of life is marked by a desire to understand their place in the larger scheme of existence. Whether through prayer, meditation, or contemplation, they seek to connect with the divine or the universal essence that underlies all things. This connection brings a profound sense of peace and reassurance, a reminder that they are part of something greater than themselves. It also instills a sense of trust in the unfolding of life, allowing them to embrace each moment with gratitude and acceptance. As they reflect, individuals often find themselves letting go of attachments that once seemed so important. The need for control, the fear of change, and the clinging to material possessions begin to fade. In their place arises a deep appreciation for the present moment, for the simple yet profound experiences that life offers. The taste of a favorite meal, the warmth of the sun on their face, the laughter of a grandchild, these moments take on a richness that far surpasses the fleeting satisfaction of external achievements. The inward journey also reveals the interconnectedness of all things. Reflecting on their own life, individuals see how their actions have rippled outward, touching the lives of others in ways they may never have realized. They recognize the bonds that unite humanity and feel a deeper sense of compassion for those around them. This understanding often inspires them to give back, to share their wisdom and love with others, and to make their remaining years a time of contribution and service. Perhaps the greatest gift of inner reflection is the clarity it brings about what truly matters. It strips away the superficial layers of life and reveals the essence of what it means to live well. It teaches that love, kindness, and presence are the greatest treasures, and that the moments of connection with oneself, with others, and with the world are what truly define a meaningful life. For those over 60, the journey of inner reflection is not an end but a beginning. It is a return to the self, a rediscovery of the soul's deepest desires and truths. It is a time of renewal, where the wisdom gained from decades of experience is distilled into a deeper understanding of life's purpose. This inward journey is not without challenges, for it requires honesty, vulnerability, and the willingness to face the parts of oneself that have been hidden or ignored. But for those who undertake it, the rewards are immeasurable, a life lived with greater authenticity, peace, and fulfillment. The journey of inner reflection is a homecoming. It is a return to the essence of who we are, unencumbered by the roles, expectations, and distractions of the external world. It is a reminder that the answers we seek are not out there, but within us, waiting to be discovered in the quiet moments of stillness. For those who embark on this journey, it is a sacred path, a path that leads not away from life, but deeper into its heart. Relationships at their core are a profound reflection of our inner world. They serve as mirrors, revealing our deepest fears, desires, and truths. While society often paints relationships as sources of happiness and completion, the truth about relationships goes far deeper. They are not merely about companionship or shared experiences, they are opportunities for growth, understanding, and the realization of our authentic selves. Over time, as life evolves and priorities shift, the nature of relationships transforms, offering new perspectives on what it means to truly connect with another person. The first truth about relationships is that they are not meant to complete us, but to complement us. The idea of another person filling an inner void is a romanticized notion that often leads to disappointment. True fulfillment comes from within, and when we enter relationships with the expectation that another person will fix or fulfill us, we place an impossible burden on them. A healthy relationship is one where two whole individuals come together, not out of need but out of choice, creating a partnership that enhances each person's life rather than defining it. Another truth is that relationships require effort and intention. Love is not a static emotion but a dynamic force that must be nurtured. While the initial stages of a relationship may feel effortless, sustaining it over time demands communication, understanding, and a willingness to adapt. Challenges will inevitably arise, but they are not signs of failure. Instead, they are opportunities to deepen the connection and to learn more about ourselves and our partner. Growth often comes through discomfort, and relationships are no exception. Trust and authenticity form the foundation of any meaningful relationship. Without trust, even the strongest connection will falter. Trust is built not only through honesty, but also through consistency and vulnerability. To truly trust someone, we must allow ourselves to be seen as we are, without pretense of a facade. This requires courage, as it involves exposing our fears, insecurities, and imperfections. But in doing so, we create a space for genuine connection, where both individuals can feel accepted and valued for who they truly are. Relationships also teach us the importance of boundaries. Loving someone does not mean losing ourselves in the process. Healthy relationships allow space for individuality, recognizing that each person has their own needs, dreams, and identity. Boundaries are not barriers but expressions of self-respect, ensuring that we honor our own well-being while respecting the other person's autonomy. When boundaries are clear, relationships thrive because they are built on mutual respect and understanding. One of the most challenging truths about relationships is that not all of them are meant to last forever. Some relationships come into our lives for a season, teaching us valuable lessons and shaping us in ways we may not immediately recognize. The end of a relationship does not negate its value. Even in heartbreak, there is growth. Each relationship we experience contributes to our journey, helping us understand ourselves and what we truly want in life. Letting go, while painful, is sometimes necessary to make space for new connections and opportunities. The truth about relationships also lies in the balance between giving and receiving. Love is an exchange, a flow of energy that requires reciprocity. When one person gives endlessly while the other takes without return, imbalance arises, leading to resentment and frustration. A healthy relationship is one where both individuals contribute equally, not necessarily in the same ways, but in ways that feel fair and fulfilling to both parties. Giving from a place of love rather than obligation creates a bond that is both strong and enduring. Another profound aspect of relationships is that they often reflect our inner state. The dynamics we experience with others can reveal unresolved issues within ourselves. Patterns of conflict, insecurity, or dissatisfaction often point to areas where healing is needed. Relationships therefore become a mirror, offering insights into our own beliefs, fears, and desires. When approached with self-awareness, they become a powerful tool for personal growth. Forgiveness is another cornerstone of lasting relationships. No one is perfect, and misunderstandings, mistakes, and hurt feelings are inevitable. The ability to forgive both ourselves and others is essential for maintaining connection. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather choosing to release the resentment that holds us back. It is a gift we give to ourselves as much as to the other person, allowing us to move forward with peace and understanding. The truth about relationships is that they are not just about love for another, but also about love for oneself. The relationship we have with ourselves sets the tone for all other relationships in our lives. When we value and respect ourselves, we attract connections that reflect that same energy. Self-love is not selfish, it is the foundation upon which healthy, fulfilling relationships are built. By nurturing our own well-being, we bring our best selves to our relationships, creating a dynamic that is enriching for both parties. Relationships are one of life's greatest teachers. They challenge us, inspire us, and offer us a glimpse into the depth of human connection. They are not always easy, but their complexity is what makes them so meaningful. By embracing the truths about relationships, we can approach them with greater awareness, compassion, and authenticity. Whether they last a lifetime or a fleeting moment, each relationship leaves an imprint on our hearts, shaping us into who we are meant to be. In conclusion, relationships are profound journeys that shape our lives, offering lessons in love, trust, growth, and self-awareness. They are not merely about finding someone to walk beside us, but about discovering deeper truths within ourselves through connection. Whether they endure for a lifetime or are fleeting encounters, each relationship holds the potential to teach us, heal us, and guide us closer to our authentic selves. By approaching relationships with honesty, balance, and a deep sense of self-love, we create meaningful connections that enrich our lives and the lives of those we encounter. Thank you for taking this time to reflect on the deeper truths about relationships. May these insights inspire you to nurture the connections in your life with greater intention and love.